Everyone.
Hi everyone. Okay, welcome to the Temujin listening party. So we are hours away
Yeah,
left before the Webby voting closes. So I guess maybe we'll do a quick introduction before we start. So I'm Raven, and together with Daniel, we host the ASEAN Content Creators Club on Clubhouse, where we run rooms about content creation, marketing and distribution with creators from Southeast Asia. So today we are really excited to have with us Roshan and Isabel. They both of them they are the team behind Temujin. So Temujin is up against like heavyweights like BBC, HBO, and Trevor Noah. So and yeah, if you want to support them, please go and vote for them right now. And if you want to know about more events for ASEAN content creators, you can follow me and Daniel on Clubhouse. So if you haven't had a chance to listen or you want to experience Temujin all over again, so now is the time. And yeah, before we begin the listening party, can we get Roshan and Isabel to introduce yourself for the people who may not have heard about your show before, and how can they vote for you guys? Yeah.
So maybe welcome Isabel, welcome Roshan,
Yeah.
and thanks for everyone who is listening.
Mm.
So I think this is broadcasted in 3 different places at this point in time. We are
Oh
at
yes.
we are at the Podcast Collective. We are also at the Temujin Facebook page, and we are in the Entrepreneurs Group page. And so for those who are entrepreneurs and wondering what's going on, yeah, this is just think of this as your midweek entertainment. I think Roshan is can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. So welcome to the almost end of the week entertainment. I know it may be a long week for some people, but thanks for coming in. So I'm Isabel. I'm a producer on the Temujin team. And Roshan, who's coming back, who's sorting some things out and coming back in, is he's the creator of the show, so he's the reason that this show has come about, and that we have something wonderful to listen to today. So we're creators based in Singapore. This is our first audio drama, and on Spotify, our first audio fiction production. Basically, we started at around this first came about in 2018 after about 4 years of intensive research on the life of the titular character, who you may know better as Genghis Khan. So this was part of Roshan's research project for his final year capstone in college. The research included actually traveling to Mongolia and things like that, getting the soundscapes, and it was staged first as a live reading play, which is when we had the great idea of, it sounds great, even without the fanfare, even without the stage lighting, or even without the props. So why don't we just try and make it an audio show so that everyone can hear it? And that's how Temujin and audio drama came to be. And I guess our dreams of having it heard all around the world really came true. We're at the Webbys, for goodness sakes, but we've had the absolute pleasure of meeting people from the UK, Mongolia, the US, you guys too, all over the world, who have tuned into the show and really shared some wonderful things as well about their experiences. So and now we're here trying to make it on the Webbys stage. So there's currently a popular vote campaign running. We'll send the link to vote as soon as we can. But
It's at the banner right below, actually.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. So it's just right on the banner below. It takes all of 20 seconds to do once you log into Twitter. Last time we're second place, just behind The Daily Show of all people. It's kind of a pinch, Trevor Noah, or just, hey. but we're really happy to represent creators from this part of the world, and show that we've got some great stories to tell as well.
Yeah,
and
I'm so like I'm a big fan of Trevor Noah, and it's so hard to just like promote that. I just like to see you guys win. Although like, let's see what we can do. Roshan, are you there? I think Roshan is having like on. So it just shows that his internet issue is not only a Malaysian thing.
Yeah, I think maybe we can talk about the flow of the show. So we are going to play the first 3 episodes, and then we will have intermission, and then we will play the rest. And then after that, so if anyone have any comments, be it at the podcast collective or the Entrepreneur Malaysia group, or just drop us a note in the comments, and then we can share the questions. We'll do like Q&A during intermission, and a short one after the end of the show. So yeah.
Hey, Roshan.
Roshan, you're back.
Hi, you're back.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Do you want to quickly introduce?
Sorry about that. I think I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Hi, everybody. My name. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Roshan. I am the showrunner for Temujin, which is to say that I wrote the script, directed the performances, and yeah, I composed it as well. And I worked with Isabel basically, and well, I mean, Isabel really basically helped to like bring this story to the world, and I think I was the person who kind of at the very beginning made sure we had a show to get out there. And yeah, that was my role in the process. I cannot understate enough sort of the monumental team effort that this show was. So even if I have the fancy title of showrunner, I think so many of the decisions were made collectively across like 20 different people. So just very, very proud to be representing like that collective work here.
Awesome. And so we are gonna play a few episodes of this, gonna do a live thing. And Isabel, are we ready?
Okay. So anytime you are ready, we can share screen, and then we can start. Yes.
Yeah. So while
I think
while
when we
are
decide,
waiting.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask Roshan while we are going to wait for Isabel to share her screen. And is it shared? I don't see it yet.
We might do it by Spotify.
Okay, sure. If you can share the Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming soon.
Sure.
pending.
So while waiting for Isabel,
Yes.
Okay, I can share it.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, let me just get that going.
So, okay.
Oh, y'all can see my playlists now. Good times. Yeah, so if you're ever looking for where Temujin is, you can find it on Spotify at this lovely page designed by our cover artist, who is also fantastic and responsible for the lovely background on this Melon app conference today. So you can find all of our 5 acts here, and if everybody's ready, we can just get started, I think.
Can yeah. So we're gonna mute everyone and go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing it. Are you?
I accidentally put myself on mute. Sorry about that.
Act 1. All hail the good Khan.
I heard he was killed in his sleep.
I heard he was shot off his horse mid-retreat.
I heard he slashed his own throat open. It was an act of war.
It was an assassin.
It was a singular moment of clarity.
Guard!
Yes, Ohan.
Where were you?
Patrolling the mountaintop, Ohan.
I didn't hear footsteps.
I was scanning the horizon for threats.
Standing stock still?
My eyes were moving.
Someone might have come from here or there and taken a shot.
I'd have seen them coming. Oh, you're back.
We go another day without starving. There's not much left to the day. It's not much left to hunt, Ohan. What's in that sack then? Grassy soil? Sheep? I've never seen sheep up here. Listen, the meat's good. Tell me it isn't from their camp. A herd that large, no one's gonna miss one or two. Stolen sheep? Stolen sheep? Oh, you can't help yourselves, can you? I'm sorry, Ohan, if we... Who else is eating stolen sheep, huh? Who's slaves?
Yours, maybe, if we could get to cooking it.
I'm sorry?
If you want us to cook the meat, just say so.
Want who to cook, exactly?
Us, him and me, your loyal slaves.
No! Not slaves. Not anymore. Remember, you are... You are...
The guardsmen of the Gurhan.
The guardsmen of the Gurhan! Innermost circle of our resurgent empire, huh? And you treat that as the honor it is. If you had any sense in that vacuous dome of a head.
Vacuous dome? What?
Let it go. Shall I prepare a stew? No! Let's starve to death. At your own pace.
Bloody feast you brought back. Almost enough for two.
It's all I could manage. You know that.
I miss milk. Seen any mountain cows?
I don't think anyone ever has.
Well, here's the trick. You'd smell it shit before you see it.
You could start a farm. Mountain milk to go with the stolen sheep.
Ooh, whip up some curd for the summer too.
Okay. While we're at this pause, I've heard there's some audio issues, so I'm going to try this again. Let me just stop sharing real quick. Share the screen. Option 2.
Yeah, so there should be an option. You share tab.
Mm-hmm.
You
I have
see tab
I have a stereo audio.
There should be one order.
Okay.
Okay, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me the share? Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulty.
Okay.
Okay, I will do the sharing. Sorry about that. Audio share. Show on screen. You guys got it?
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 1.
hail. All hail.
All hail the Gorkhan! I heard he was killed in his sleep.
I heard he was shot off his horse mid-retreat.
I heard he slashed his own throat open. It was an act of war.
It was an assassin.
It was a singular moment of clarity.
Guard!
Yes, Ohan.
Where were you?
Patrolling the mountaintop, Ohan.
I didn't hear footsteps.
I was scanning the horizon for threats.
Standing stock still?
My eyes were moving.
Someone might have come from here or there and taken a shot.
I'd have seen them coming. Oh, you're back.
We go another day without starving.
There's not much left to the day.
It's not much left to hunt, Ohan.
What's in that sack then? Grassy soil?
Sheep!
I've never seen sheep up here.
Listen, the meat's good.
Tell me it isn't from their camp.
A herd that large, no one's gonna miss one or two.
Stolen sheep? Stolen sheep? Oh, you can't help yourselves, can you?
I'm sorry, Ohan, if we...
Who else is eating stolen sheep, huh? Who's slaves?
Yours, maybe, if we could get to cooking it.
I'm sorry?
If you want us to cook the meat, just say so.
Want who to cook, exactly?
Us, him and me, your loyal slaves.
No! Not slaves. Not anymore. Remember, you are... You are...
The
guardsmen of the Gurhan.
The guardsmen of the Gurhan! Innermost circle of our resurgent empire, huh? And you treat that as the honor it is! If you had any sense in that vacuous dome of a head.
Vacuous dome? What?
Let it go. Shall I prepare a stew?
No! Let's starve to death. At your own pace.
Bloody feast you brought back. Almost enough for two.
It's all I could manage. You know that.
I miss milk. Seen any mountain cows?
I don't think anyone ever has.
Well, here's the trick. You'd smell it shit before you see it.
You could start a farm. Mountain milk to go with the stolen sheep.
Ooh. Whip up some curd for the summer too. I've made my decision.
Let's hear it.
I'd rather toil for the guy who owns one cow than royally guard the Khan that treats me like one.
Ah, but you're forgetting his resurgent empire.
How could I forget? He won't shut up about it. I'm telling you, this is why I keep my distance while I'm keeping him safe. A passing gazelle might impale him in the knees, but that's just the risk I'm willing to take.
Look, he may be miserable.
Like sad?
No, like pathetic.
So sad.
He would be better off dead.
Ah, okay.
But we're still his slaves, you know? Wonder what that makes us.
So, I know I'm a slave. I also know I'm a piece of shit bandit. And I'm okay with that. But that guy, a piece of shit bandit who thinks he's a god, tell me what that makes him.
Our master, still.
What was the herd like at Genghis Khan's?
It was like plucking raindrops from a cloud.
Scanning for threats in his mouth now, are we?
Mouths can be plenty threatening. Have you smelt yours?
It was only a minute of talking.
Men are killed in seconds.
Sure, maybe.
Any of us could be killed in seconds.
But, see, that's the thing.
Hey,
it's fine.
Please, go on. And you. Why don't you go watch the stew?
Yes, Ohan.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I expect nothing less.
We've been on this mountain clearing for 2 whole seasons now, and I don't know about you, but I haven't seen anything more threatening than a goat look our way. And we can see everything from up here.
You're saying I have nothing to worry about.
I'm saying we can afford to relax a little.
Because we're safe.
Far as I can see.
And you can see everything. That's right. You've shown me something important.
Just the truth. That's all.
All this time, stuck in my own head, buried in this deep and all-pervading sense of dread. And where has that gotten us, huh? Worked up over nothing? Farewell, anxiety. So long, stress. Up here, just the three of us. No harm could ever come our way.
Wait, Jamuk, what are you... Ah! My foot! You shot me in the foot!
Oh no!
Why?
You're not leaving your post again, are you, guardsmen of the Gurhan?
No one calls you that anymore, Jamuk.
Well, if you're not my guardsman, why, you're just an unclaimed slave. I could stick another one of these between your eyes. Wouldn't even count as a killing, would it?
Gurhan, please. Your stew. Let me take a look at that.
Ah!
No one should have to eat like this. Live like this.
You're right.
When did he die?
Before he was killed.
And what did they call him?
Gurhan.
That's what he called himself.
Jamuk the Wise.
Ironically,
what did they call him?
What will they call him?
When did he die?
He's getting up. Should I hit him again?
We're already here.
I think it would help. How? It would make me feel better. How was the trip for you? Bumpy ride?
I don't know where you brought me.
Ooh, which one of us gets to tell him?
Go ahead.
You're at death's door, Jamuk. See, we had this brilliant idea.
My idea.
There was this brilliant idea to chuck you to Genghis Khan when we'd had enough of you. And in return for our kind service...
So, this is his camp.
Grander up close, isn't it? I mean, it's no mountain clearing, but you can see the appeal.
What are you waiting for then?
We've spoken with one of the night guards. Genghis Khan himself will be out shortly. These are your final minutes, Jamuk.
Gurhan. You refer to me as the Gurhan.
Really?
Ah, here he is now.
Sir, Great Khan.
This is the guard, remember?
Oh, did you bring Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan is not to be brought. But I've learned he's not available tonight.
Busy with Borthe, is he?
The Queen has an empire to run. She's far from here.
Oh, she and I are on a first-name basis.
Could you tell us where he is?
I'm not at liberty to say.
What he's doing, at least.
Irrelevant.
I should think this is important enough to warrant the Khan's attention.
Taking that as a compliment.
Do you even know where he is?
Be assured he'll hear of this at dawn. The prisoner isn't going anywhere until then. You. Are you who they say you are?
That depends on who they say I am.
Enemy of all Mongols, the coward, Jamuk.
Gurhan, guys! Is that really so hard?
Huh. Incredible. You hear so much. More malice than man. A monster. Here you are. Drawing staggered breath. Soft eyes flitting about tiny little things. You're fragile. I am honored to hold you for your reckoning, Jamuk the Gurhan. It comes long overdue.
Question! Can we watch?
Don't push it.
I'll need Genghis Khan to verify his identity at dawn.
We assure you, this is him.
On our lives.
Well, if you're lying, you'll be put to death, the same as any other bandit.
If we're telling the truth,
then you'll have done us a great service.
And we won't be put to death?
I can't guarantee that.
Do you have a place for us to stay, at least? It took everything we had getting here.
There's no room left in the camp for guests. But I'll allow you the use of my personal gear.
Thank you.
Don't get your hopes up. It's nothing special.
Got a roof?
Of course.
Special enough for us.
Just get your sleep. You'll be woken for the hearing.
Yes, rest in peace, the both of you.
It's a shame. I expected more.
Never expect anything, boy. You'll be happier for it.
The last hours of your life, and you'd spend it playing the fool.
Oh no, I'm dead serious. Grave.
I get it. It hasn't sunk in yet. What? Will your 13 armies burst out from the horizon, armed to the teeth, ready to fight at the heart of the Mongol Empire? Let's see. No. That's right. The last and most loyal men you had left you to die at my feet.
The only threat to me out here is the mosquito buzzing around your ear.
No more jokes.
By sunrise, I'll have command over you and all your men. By the end of the next day, I'll have land of my own. Not sure where yet. Hey, how's the soil where you're from?
Half a year on that mountain drove you mad.
Quite possibly. Terribly long time to spend away from the people who love you most.
Your wife?
Your Han.
Nonsense.
I'm his only friend, you know.
You were at war with him for 20 years.
And we were sworn brothers, twice that long. The war was what it was. Tribal politics, competing interests, external pressures. That's all done now. You lot won. The world is yours. What remains is between me and him.
And you believe he'll spare you?
More than spare. Your Han loves me. He always has. As a boy, I taught him how to play and how to kill. As a man, I taught him how to rule. Wherever he takes aim, my hands pull back the string. When he issues a law, it's my words from his mouth. I know you people revere him like a god. So how do you address the maker of makers, huh? Not the best start. Really.
You don't think I'll shoot?
You can't. Not here.
Why not?
Genghis Khan
isn't here.
Oh, so you'd kill me in the name of a Han you don't respect?
You were right earlier. I revere him. I know all his laws by heart. Stealing, death. Adultery, death. Spying, death. Loyal officers who fail in the line of duty, even them, death. His verdict is a formality. Jamuk the Gurhan. You're already dead.
You don't look so sure of that.
If what you say is true, if there's even the slightest chance you'd survive the morning.
You wouldn't dare.
Even if he couldn't bring himself to kill you. I bet your corpse wouldn't faze him in the slightest.
Oh, but you're not doing this for him, are you?
I'm doing this for every Mongol family you've torn apart.
Every family? Now, what is it you think I've done to you?
Think? What I think, what you think, none of that matters. With your death.
Your history dies with me.
History? That's your best defense.
Let's bring thought back into the picture. For just a moment.
I don't owe you anything.
But you have nothing to lose. Kill me now, you have your corpse. Kill me just before the sun rises. You will have your corpse and more.
What more?
Do I have your attention?
You have a moment's curiosity.
Whatever else you think of me, I've been around since the beginning. The very beginning. Before your god Han, before your empire, before anything mattered to anyone, I was there.
You think I'd believe your stories?
You don't know any others.
I know the ones that matter.
Listen, I'm fresh out of plans. As you like to say, I don't have anything left, do I? Except my stories. And those would die with me.
As perhaps they should.
You could be the judge of that.
Fine. You have until sunrise. The night's just begun. And well, I could use the entertainment.
How very generous. Now, I just need to... Do you have any cloth I could use to clean this up?
Yes. Yes, I do. Go on then. Tell your story.
Fine, fine. Just sit down. And I'll need you to close your eyes.
You're joking.
It's an exceedingly visual story. It won't have the same punch otherwise.
This story of yours, it's set on the steppes?
Of course.
So flat land, the occasional hill, sky as far as the eye can see. I think I'm good.
It's not about the... You'll see for yourself if you just close your eyes and listen. Please.
You try anything. I'll know.
Sure.
One clean shot right through the head.
Are you listening? Good. I'll start from the beginning.
This was Act 1 of Temujin, an audio drama. Written, directed, and composed by Roshan Singh, with sound...
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 2.
Are you listening? Good. I'll start.
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 2.
Are you listening? Good. I'll start from the beginning. I was born to respectable parents in the Jadaran tribe. In the days when the conditions of one's birth meant anything. From the very beginning of my life, I was driven to prodigious achievement. Other Jadaran children mastered horseback riding by the age of 4. I did so by 3. And could have done it faster.
But you didn't.
Were it not for the limitations of my still infantine stature.
Baby limbs.
I had baby limbs, yes. But I had something no other baby had, or might ever have again. Ambition. Yes, that fire, burning, unquenching, a quality not of this world, It singed my flesh as I slept, sizzled away at every dull moment, as if to instruct me, never idle, never waste, never for the rest of your life can you let any moment pass you by. For you are the rare creature for whom work is rewarded. Religious experience? Dream of grandeur? What difference does it make? I heard it loud and clear, this call to arms, and I threw myself into the pyre of excellence.
Yes, I can see that. You're the very picture of excellence.
Mine was an excellence that you, in your idler times, may no longer understand. Do you want to tell this story?
Not quite as desperately as you do. Carry on.
But I was so enjoying your interruptions.
Do you want to continue or not?
A complete history of the steps that raised me. Endless wars between infinite tribes over our unhappy cohabitation in the greatest expanse of land in the world. We raided as often as we traded, often in immediate succession. By 8, I had made an art of killing. By 12, I led men twice my age into raids. And by comparison, the boys I'd grown up with had just discovered the joys of riding up and down the same hills over and over and over again. Thrilling. It began to feel as if this fire was as much a blessing as a curse. It illuminated the dullness that choked the air around me, a resignation to everything, to the damned hills, to defeat, to victory, to the mere facts of life and death. If any of this could be called a life. No, I became certain of this. That would not be my life. I became a connoisseur of differences. In my position of increasing power and influence, I had the luxury to do so. The boys my age went left, I went right. While they played, I worked, and when they ran to their hills, I retreated to the forest. Isn't it something? Tall, wisp-like trees blanket what little remains of the horizon. Here, unlike the nothing-filled plains, there was mystery. A rustling to your right? A deer? A bird catching flight? You'd never know. And, in keeping with the spirit of the place, I never came to do the same thing twice. Sometimes I hunted. Others I hid, always relishing in the supreme delight that is the element of surprise.
Keep running, boar! You're gonna tire yourself out eventually. And when you do, I'll rip you apart, you hear me? I'll roast you alive!
I'd never met anyone else here, let alone a boy my age, no older than 16. Still hidden, I engaged him. Boar! Excuse you?
Who's there?
Who's there?
Are you a bandit?
I don't see anything worth stealing.
Are you mocking me?
That depends. Were you threatening me?
No, I'm hunting.
Don't tell me! Hunting men?
No, boar.
For sport?
For my starving mother.
How old are you?
I'm a man.
Small man to be providing for a family.
Show yourself.
Why should I?
Because I'm no threat to you. And if there's anything you wanted, you'd have already taken it.
And what is it you think I want?
If you've had your fun, I have work to do.
Yes, the boar.
Did you see it?
I'm guessing it saw you. It's long gone now.
Damn it!
First time hunting?
Is it that obvious?
Not many seasoned hunters use their whole palm to shoot an arrow. Who taught you to hold a bow?
My mother was going to. She's been busy.
Ask someone else in your tribe.
Not an option.
Are you that shy?
I don't have a tribe.
Your father?
Dead.
An older brother then?
If you'll excuse me...
Excuse you to do what? Say you find the boar, deer, antelope. What then?
I shoot the thing, obviously.
Oh, really? Show me how.
See?
No. Put that away. You're going to hurt yourself.
I don't have a choice. I have to do this.
What's your name?
Temujin.
I'm touched, Temujin. As your luck would have it, I'm also very bored. You strike me as someone in need of instruction. I could be wrong.
Please. Please. I'll hear it.
First, may I? Just 3 fingers. See? Simple.
Okay.
Second, you can't just scramble about the forest screaming at your prey. Look around. What do you see?
Trees?
Tree cover. If you move unseen, your target is defenseless.
And then I shoot.
Slow down. There's the matter of positioning. Ideally, you want to be behind them.
And then?
And then you stay calm. That's crucial. Otherwise, you end up firing all over the place like an idiot.
I get it. Calm.
Hold your left arm steady. Draw back with the right. 3 fingers.
Straight back.
There's your kill. A lot harder in practice, especially if you've never killed before.
Do you hunt here too?
When I feel like it.
I'd never be in a place like this if I didn't have to be. Now, I've really got to...
Go hunt your boar. Try not to let it hunt you.
I will.
And if you survive, I take it you'll hunt here again?
It's safer than doing it out there.
Maybe next time you'll manage to catch me off guard.
Oh yeah? What then? I get another hunting lesson?
If you win.
All right, you're on.
Jamuk.
I'll see you around, Jamuk. But you won't see me.
Could I have known even then, from the fire in his eyes? Could I have seen Chinggis Khan in Temujin? Is that why I sought him out? Rather why I let him seek me out? Week after week, month after month. Why he, and he alone, held the distinguished privilege of being called my friend? No, of course not. All the fire in the world couldn't have changed his wretched lineage. Not in the days where that meant everything. Still, I hunted with him until he became passable at it. And of course we played. I may have lied earlier when I told you I never came out here to do the same thing twice. You have all the subtlety of a stray cow.
Come on.
That's one game you've lost already, and we've barely just begun. Did you remember your knuckle bones?
Yeah, here.
Whoa! When's the last time you washed them?
Yeah, well, where's yours? Wow. They're white.
You know what? Let's swap.
Why?
I want you to know how it feels to play with a clean, well-kept set.
Exactly the same?
No, not exactly the... What hole did you crawl out of? Look, With good pieces, every action is smoother, more efficient. When you palm them off the ground, even the way they clatter in your hands is different. Can you hear it?
May I?
They're all yours.
Good luck getting the grime off. It's stuck pretty deep to the bone.
No need to go through all that trouble.
After all the fuss you made about washing them?
There's more white pieces where those came from, Temujin. You grime those ones up, I can have replacements ready within the day.
Oh.
Listen carefully. This is important. If you're playing to win, bring your best pieces and toss the rest.
Or I could just clean them.
Why bother?
I've had the set for a while.
Sure smells like it. How long?
Since before.
Ah. Who gave them to you?
My father. I was going off on a journey to stay with this girl he wanted me to marry, Porte. I must have been 8 years old. So was she. You would have liked her, Jamuk.
I'm sure.
She was smart. Smarter than me, that's for sure.
How long did you have before?
A year. She probably has her own family now.
I'd like to know more.
Believe me, so would I.
About your exile, I mean.
It doesn't matter now. No point dwelling.
That's a mature way of looking at it.
I am mature. I have to be.
Do you trust me, Temujin?
I spend more time with you than anyone.
And I you, but that's not a yes.
What do you want, Jamuk?
Tell me, what do you know about my life?
You're from the Jataran tribe? They're powerful? You're powerful?
And
you spend all your free time in the forest? That's all I know.
That's all there is to know. I am a simple man, Temujin. The course of my life runs straight and shallow. What you see is all there is. But you on the other hand.
What about me?
You are my closest friend, perhaps my only friend, and I know nothing about you, apart from the fact that you're suffering.
That's not for you to fix.
But I can help, if you let me.
You really think so?
If all the earth sets itself against you, Temujin, I shall raise an army to rend mountains and shatter the plains.
I can't tell if you're joking.
I'm an open book.
And you know I can't read.
I have nothing to hide from you.
Neither do I. Of course not.
Well, then?
Where would I even begin?
Your feelings. Tell me how you feel.
Hungry?
No, a strong feeling. Your strongest one.
I don't know. What's yours?
Mine? I am a moderate man. I don't do strong feelings.
Well, then I don't either.
Of course you do. Look at the state of your life. It's
what?
Finish that thought for me.
Really?
I'm not speaking until you do.
All right. All right. It's miserable. Isn't it? I can see that. Of course I can see that. For reasons entirely beyond my control, my life has escaped me.
And how do you feel about that?
Like I could tear into this tree with my fists until they were nothing but bloody stumps. Snap every arrow in that quiver into splinters, one by one, just for the feel of it.
So, angry.
Angry doesn't begin to cover it. Hate.
What do you hate?
What's not to hate? I could count every decent person I've ever known on one hand. And as for everyone else, take my mother, Oilun. After all, that's what my father did. Took her straight from the love of her life, on her way to get married.
Well, you're hit. Oh, Ellen, you're bleeding.
I'll survive. You need to run. The big one just got off his horse.
I'm not leaving you to them.
If you miss me, marry someone with my name. If that's not enough, here, give her my shawl.
If you stay, he's going to kill you. Or worse.
Yeah, well, I refuse to let that happen. Now hurry up.
I'm gonna come back for you. I swear it.
I'll be waiting.
He didn't.
I was aiming for him, not you. You will learn to love me.
This is how I entered the world. A man with the power to do as he pleased, and he's far from the only one. How many tribes are there on the steppes? How many million pretenses for raids, for revenge? All we know are the senseless rhythms of violence, which came back around for my father in the end. When I was 10, he was poisoned, over battles long since lost and won. To make matters worse, my father's tribe, all our blood relatives, disowned us. On the spot. Said my mother was weak without him, too many children. In the end, it was family that left my mother to rot on barren soil, left to die.
I refuse.
She saw to it that that didn't happen. Now, for all the injustice my mother has weathered, the greater evils she's resigned herself to, do you know what our greatest threat is right now, Jamuk?
Oilun?
Yes, Begder.
How's your haul looking today?
There should be just enough for everyone.
Very good, Oilun. The work you do for this family, it's something else.
Well, I'm getting older. So are you boys.
I'm the family head now, Oilun. Don't talk to me like I'm your son.
Of course. Forgive me.
I know where your respect lies, but you'll have to do a better job keeping your boys in check.
Why? What's wrong?
Your eldest, Temujin. He's stingy with the meat he brings back.
I don't understand. Is he falling behind?
He's not a terrible hunter, but he needs to learn to give me what I ask for when I ask, instead of mouthing back about fair or unfair. I won't tolerate anything less than total submission. Not when our lives are at constant risk. These are dire times, Oilun. Remember that dire times often call for dire measures. Distribute what's left among your children.
Yes, Begder. Temujin.
It's the same speech every time.
All we have to do is survive this, please. That's all I'm asking. We can't do that at each other's throats. Not when everyone outside this family wants us dead.
Like family still means anything to her.
You think I can't see what your half-brother is doing? I know cruelty, son. I've shared a bed with it. But survival has nothing to do with righting every wrong you see. And I need you alive, Temujin. Do you understand? I refuse to lose you, any of you. But if you insist on making enemies out of family, the only friend you'll have left is your own shadow.
I don't know what to tell you, Jamuk. I don't see a course to my life like you do. When I think about my future, I see either death or total submission. I couldn't tell you what scares me more.
You don't deserve this. Any of it.
When I look for someone to blame, it's more than my half-brother, or my father, or the men who killed him. I mean, that was cruel. All of it. But it happens all the time. Cruelty is the way things are.
Then it's simple. We change the way things are.
What? Just like that?
Do you realize who you're speaking to?
I thought so. Remind me?
Within the decade, I'll have all of the Jadaran tribe at my disposal.
We can't talk about this like it's another game, Jamuk.
I've never been more serious in my life. With this passion of yours and my might, we could wage a war to end all wars. Unite every tribe under one banner. No more raiding, no more violence, no more cruelty. Imagine it.
My passion isn't very much to bring to the table.
Now who's joking? This hate of yours, that'll be our secret weapon. I've never seen anything like it, not in people thrice our age. It's why I'm proud to be your friend. In fact, what do you know about Anders?
Sworn brothers? My father had one, I think. Some Christian Khan.
I know you have your misgivings with family, Temujin, but this is different. This is a choice. Yours. I'd like us to become Anders.
What would that take?
Just two things. An exchange of gifts and of blood.
And that's all?
That's all.
Well, we've already exchanged knuckle bones.
Yes, but we can do better. We're men, Temujin, honoring a commitment to fight with each other for the rest of our lives. Our gift should reflect that.
The only other things I own are my bow and arrow.
That's perfect. Do you know what this is?
An arrowhead with a hole in it? Does it fly faster?
Does it fly faster? No. It's a whistling arrowhead. Fire it from your bow, and it lets out a piercing scream.
All I have are these regular old arrows.
That'll do nicely. So long as there's no grime I'll have to wash off later.
Minimal. I promise.
All right. Follow my lead. Your turn. It's done. You'll save that arrowhead for something special, won't you? I'd hate to see it wasted on a forest boar.
I promise.
The day's getting late, Temujin. You'd best get back to your hunt.
I was planning to. Jamuk.
Yes?
Thank you.
Go get some good, clean kills for your mother. Let the boars and the deer and all those undeserving of life tremble at your name, Temujin.
You too, Jamuk.
I stayed in the forest till sunset, trying to burn off this abundance of energy, this feeling. What was this? I had worked hard, yes, trained with the finest teachers and secured my standing with the leaders of my tribe. But how was it that this dead boy had more life in him than me? How is it that I came to envy him? I, who had been given everything before I knew to ask. Was that it? His struggle? He needed to fight. He radiated purpose, whereas I needed nothing. I had hated nothing, except perhaps that dullness, that resignation to everything. And the shine in his eyes revealed the dullness in mine. How could I have explained this to him, the exiled orphan? How could he have understood the luxury of self-hatred? I might have found time to try, but when I returned to my camp later that night, I was greeted by embers and the familiar stench of death. Instantly I recall that wicked thought where I had envied Temujin's wretched lot in life. How quickly I had been answered. It had to be punishment. He and I were to be equal in orphanhood. The elders told me it was a routine raid. The Merkid, or perhaps it was the Tartars, no one knew for sure. My parents were butchered the ordinary way, pierced through repeatedly by archers on horseback. In that moment I could feel Temujin's hatred stoke my own. Ordinary, was it? Regular fashion, the savagery? My parents were good people, if uncomplicated. They knew their singular purpose in life was to instruct me in the way of striving towards the mastery of our tribal systems. And so I set at once to work. I conducted regular raids on both the Merkid and the Tartars. Me, a teenage boy with a legion of Jadaran troops who honored my vision, my blood, my absolute right to lead. Every passing victory solidified that. Weeks like this bled into months. I missed my forest, but I knew Temujin would have been proud of me. He'd have done the exact same if he could. This was the fight. Our fight. This is what I'd sworn we would do. The war to end all wars began with such promise. I alone at its helm. I returned to the forest eventually, hoping to extend the same hand I had cut open for him. I scoured the place alone at first, then with a small division of my men. His campsite, recently abandoned. There was a corpse rotting by the fire. A well-fattened, poorly dressed corpse, only slightly older than myself. I knew instantly who this was. The arrows that littered his back told quite the story. Here, by the fire, sat Bekta, Temujin's tyrannical half-brother. He was seated cross-legged, eating, perhaps, or meditating. Temujin stalked him from behind, bow raised, approaching silent, just like I taught him. But his aim was all over the place. So many shots, none of them lethal. His brother showed no signs of resistance, but that didn't stop Temujin. He let loose one arrow, then another, until he had butchered his older brother. But this one. My whistling arrowhead jammed deep inside his brother's spine. And here I had feared I was waging our war alone. Temujin was toppling tyrants in his own way. He had claimed mastery over his small tribe, just as I had my own. And here, with this, he had left me a message. Abandoning all doubt, I set myself back to our great work, with the faith that somewhere, on these untamed plains, Temujin was doing the same.
This was Act 2 of Temujin, an audio drama.
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 3.
I think it's quite convenient that you befriended a young Genghis Khan and had him swear lifelong brotherhood with you under the shroud of impenetrable tree cover.
This story isn't over.
If you're building to something, Jamuk, build faster.
Funny you should put it that way. Building. That was precisely my aim. To build something the world had never seen before. Temujin had given me the target, and my parents the necessary momentum. The only way to eliminate violence on the steppes would be to assimilate all tribes, all people, into a singular empire.
You eliminate violence.
You look shocked.
How many innocent people died in your pursuit of peace, Jamuk?
No more than necessary.
How many raids did you carry out then, in the name of ending raids?
No more than necessary. Well, maybe a little more. But for what we were trying to do, excess was exactly what we required.
We?
Yes, I, 2 years into my rule, still only 18, started to spend a fraction of my growing fortune on frivolous things. Cashmere coats, bullskin belts, the like. Not for myself. Nah, I never had a taste for such things. But as gifts for my fellow steppe aristocrats. In my bid to consolidate power, I sought any and all persons of influence. Back in those days when lineage meant everything. White-boned was what we called those born into favorable families. To be friends with even one meant having entire armies at your beck and call. For my part, it was simply a matter of finding the right gift, the right turn of phrase, the right women for the right people. Needless to say, I prospered. What's more, I caught the favor of one particular ruler, a man whose influence eclipsed that of my allies and enemies combined. I paid him frequent visits.
Little Jamuk. And what's that you've got for me?
Only another coat, Ong Han.
Don't be so coy. My God, this material is luscious. You spoil me.
Only so much as you enrich me, great Han.
Oh, stop that. What is it you want, Jamuk?
How could I want for anything, Ong Han? Between your providence and that of heaven, I am satisfied. But if I had to give it some thought, the Jurchid people have become increasingly hostile to our presence on the steppes. Our success distresses them.
One of your little Mongol quarrels?
Ha! Quite right, great Han. It's senseless, juvenile of them.
Surely you could sort it out among yourselves.
Would that I could, O Han. Would that I could. They simply won't listen to reason.
Are you asking me to launch an attack?
I would never dare ask you to stoop so low, great Han, as to involve yourself in mere tribal matters for my sake.
All right then.
But
the Jurchid seem reasonable enough. Unlike those damn Mirkid, I'm sure you'll work something out. Look, I'll pray for it.
I am honored to leave with your blessing, Ong Han. Was he difficult to deal with? Yes, at times insufferable. But his power was indispensable. The condescension was a small price to pay. Anyone who wanted anything needed his approval, if not his indifference. To offend him was to court instant death.
Sir! Who are you?
Listen, you don't know me.
No, I don't. How have you managed to...
My name is Temujin.
All right, Temujin, kindly exit my court.
I'll only be a second. I mean, a little longer than a second, but please, I have nowhere else to turn.
I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Guards, if you could just...
You knew my father. Yasuke?
Oh, that does ring a bell.
You were sworn brothers. Andas.
Oh God, that's right. It's been decades. We used to take our horses out to the frozen river and just watch them slip and fall about. How's the old bugger doing?
He's dead.
Oh, I see. You're here to avenge his death?
No, he died almost a decade ago.
A bit late then, aren't you?
It's my wife, sir. She's been taken, and I'm here to request your aid.
Of course. I understand. You poor boy. Come, I have a fine bunch of women here, and I'd be happy to let you take...
Absolutely not!
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice. I'm sorry. I'd rather not have any more women taken, Khan, sir.
Ah. Well. Surely you could... Have you tried talking it through with them?
With all due respect, they raided my family's camp with the intention of taking her. My mother was due to be married into that tribe a lifetime ago. This was a misplaced act of revenge. An entirely unjust crime.
So it's a domestic matter between family.
Aren't you family, sir? Like a sworn uncle?
Pardon my interruption.
Oh, thank God, Jamuk. Maybe you could deal with this.
Jamuk? Jamuk!
I couldn't help but overhear the plight of a fellow Mongol.
What? How? You smell awful. So do you now.
Yeah, so who are the unfortunate people I'll have to kill?
It was a band of Merkid
The
raiders.
Merkid, Lord, the Merkid are the worst. Why didn't you say so sooner?
You'll have your army.
I can't believe this.
I was counting on this, Temujin. We're after the same thing. I haven't forgotten.
Neither have I.
Chop chop, we leave first thing in the morning. Jamuk, settle our friend Temujin into an empty gear.
Right away, Onghan.
You're a gem. God bless you.
I think this should do nicely.
What happened to you? Where have you been?
I could ask you the same thing. You left your camp.
You stopped coming by ages before that. How long has it been?
3 years? Plus a winter, but who's counting?
Look at us. We've become the men we were playing at, haven't we?
We weren't that young.
Compared to the Onghan, sure, we're fresh out of the womb.
Shh.
What? The Jamuk I knew always had room for an ill-timed joke.
Maybe we have grown a little. Do you know I lead the Jadaran tribe now, Temujin?
What? So soon? That's incredible. Your parents must be... Oh, that's why you stopped coming. I'm so sorry.
Don't be. The years have been kind to me, with that one exception.
What else? Tell me everything.
There's not much else to tell. Our tribe is verging on an empire. Net victories over losses.
Sure, all in a day's work for you.
All right then, your turn.
Well, I was kidnapped into slavery.
What? When?
Right after I killed Bekter.
You've been busy.
Yeah, busier than I would have liked, Jamuk. I think it was a mistake.
Getting kidnapped is hardly within your control.
Killing him. He was meditating out on the field. He saw me approaching, and he didn't even flinch. His final words, he told me his little brother prefers fish to red meats.
That doesn't make up for anything.
Don't get me wrong, he was an awful leader. He nearly starved us out, all the food he hoarded for himself and his brother. But he loved the boy. And he was loved.
It may have been difficult, Temujin, but you struck down evil.
No, not difficult. Unnecessary.
Surely your mother didn't think so.
She could tell, just by the look on my face, what I'd done. We were exiles before, now we were criminals. My father's tribe cornered us and demanded I surrender myself into slavery.
And you just gave yourself up?
What was I going to do? Put my family at risk again? Now, besides, it was only for a year or so.
They let you go?
I let myself go. The other slaves helped with a little bit of persuasion.
Marvelous, Temujin. Exceptional. I'm sure the bastards came to regret it.
How so?
Your retaliation.
Retaliation? Oh, no, Jamuk, I got married. The moment I'd settled back in with my family, made peace with my mother, on a small camp by the Onan River. Hey, to Porte, remember?
The girl you were going to marry at 8 years old.
Yeah, she waited. Can you believe it? Till 20, till she was near unmarriageable. She waited. Turned down every offer she got. I didn't deserve that.
Of course you did.
I'm a scavenger, Jamuk. I always have been. And I know it's not glamorous, but we do all right for ourselves. Or did. I don't know. She may not even be alive. And even if she is, who knows if she'll be at their camp?
We'll figure it out. You are in good hands here, and I am not leaving. Not this time.
I appreciate that, brother. More than I can say.
And you?
And I what?
Do you think you're going anywhere?
I'll have to see. So much is up in the air. I was happy, though. I really was.
Scavenging?
At the camp. With my family. My mother, Porte. I'd do anything to have that back.
You will. Rest well, Temujin. Tomorrow we spill blood. Do you remember the feeling?
It's been some time.
You'll have nothing to fear.
Not with you around, Jamuk.
I, on the other hand, feared greatly. What happened? The boy who charted a course to change the world now dreamt of scavenging? He aspired to it. Where was our spark, our flame? How had it dwindled? Something had changed within him. I couldn't tell who or what had caused it, though I had my suspicions. In the meantime, there was always the raid. I figured that would help. It turned out this was not to be a fight, so much as a terrible massacre of the Merkid people. It was over within seconds. The fighting gave way almost immediately to fleeing and looting, all set to the tune of lapping fire. Our soldiers ducked in and out of the burning gears, grabbing whatever they could fit, weaving between the mass of heaving bodies. I knew it all well. This time, however, I played the part of detached observer, and what I observed was troubling. Almost immediately, Temujin had dropped his weapon, frantically searching the gears that were left standing. His sole concern was the girl, this woman who, from what I would later hear, scarcely needed it.
We're gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Darling.
Don't darling me. This is happening because of you. Oh, I told my brothers you were a bad idea.
We don't have to die like this.
If you're telling me to go down swinging, then you don't know me at all, woman.
I know my husband.
Damn it! You picked the worst possible time to make up your mind about this.
We could run together.
How will we even...
There's a cart outside. You get in. I'll push.
But there's no guarantee we make it out.
One of us might. The one hidden in the cart has the best chance.
You mean you would do that? For me?
We're running out of time, and I can't help you with my hands tied up like this.
Screw it. Here, let me loosen that for you. Why?
The cart. That can't be. Temujin? Temujin! Surprise.
I thought I would never see you again.
Don't be dramatic.
You couldn't have possibly known this would work out.
Things usually do. Eventually.
Are you all right? Did they treat you well? You smell amazing.
I probably smell exactly the same.
So nothing's changed then?
Things have changed a little. I need you to stay calm. Can you promise me that?
I promise.
I'm quite certain I'm pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you know whose?
It could be yours.
Good.
I know this is a lot to take in. Believe me, I know. But all this, it's over now. Finally, somehow, it's over. We can go home.
Temujin! Still alive. That's good.
Jamuk! Jamuk, this is...
The lady we're here for?
Borte. This is Jamuk. My sworn brother, remember? All this was his doing.
It was very much your husband's doing. I just lent him the army.
Jamuk, the mysterious forest boy. The way he told it, I half believed you didn't exist.
I could say the same to you, the way he talked you up. It would seem our rescue mission went twice as well as I thought. Temujin, you didn't mention...
I didn't know.
Well, this calls for a celebration.
When has life ever afforded us a chance to unwind, Jamuk?
Right now. Stay at my camp a while. There's space for your family, your mother too. You don't have to ride straight back into the misery of a scavenger's life.
I wouldn't call it misery.
We're honored to accept, Jamuk.
Temujin, we haven't talked about this.
I know, but with everything on our plates, we could do with a little security. And if it wasn't for Jamuk, we wouldn't be here at all.
The last thing I want is to pressure you.
No, I've made my decision. This will be good for us. You'll see.
And if it isn't?
Then we make another decision. Until then, could you trust me on this? Please?
Seems like I owe you that much.
Thank you. I'll let the men know we have what we came for.
What?
Who
You know what I mean. I didn't mean to upset him.
It's not you. He seems to be taking everything I've been through worse than I am.
And how are you taking it?
We don't have to talk about it.
Anyone involved, everyone responsible, they'll be dead within the hour. The last of them should already be rounded up. If you'd like, we can leave a few for you to see to personally.
I'm fine. Thanks. Like I said, ready to keep moving.
Suit yourself. Do you have any reservations about moving that you'd like to discuss with me?
We've only just met.
Happy to speed things along. Hello, I'm Jamuk.
Well, Jamuk, your generosity is beyond extraordinary. It goes without saying that I'm grateful. We both are. I do have one question.
Ask away.
Is there anything you want in return?
No, of course not.
I should make sure my husband hasn't gotten himself killed in the last minute. I think he wandered off unarmed.
I assure you, this camp is now almost as safe as my own.
I believe you.
You're still going?
Can't hurt to make sure.
Meet me when this is done, the both of you. I'll make sure you're comfortably set up.
Thank you, Jamuk. You're too kind.
She tried to conceal it, but I could feel her challenging me, questioning me. And to what end? To see him driven back to their miserable camp? His wife. I could tell even then she must have had an irrational hatred of me. I was sure of it.
Irrational. Sounds like decent intuition to me.
She had no reason. I had given her many things by then, but not that. Not yet. I couldn't begin to understand her, but I didn't have to. Her husband, with the right resources, had the drive to reshape the steps in a greater image. I knew that because he had shared it with me. Within a week, they were both to be set up in my tribe. No, by this point, my empire. If there was to be a war for the man's soul, so be it. I was poised to win. Can you imagine Genghis Khan, a scavenger?
This was Act 3 of Temujin, an audio drama.
So, guys.
Hi. Hi. We're back for intermission.
Hello.
For intermission, guys.
Hello.
Yes. I think. Yeah. I think maybe we can do probably about 10 minutes. I think maybe we can do probably about 10 minutes. Yeah. So
sounds good.
Maybe we can ask
Yeah.
hang on. I think I'm having like feedback from my streaming devices because I'm trying to watch it as well. So I think one of the questions we can ask, right, is like how does it feel like since the moment you guys find out about being nominated for Webby, and you are the first ever team from Asia to be nominated for a fiction podcast category. Maybe you want to share with us how you feel and what has the process been like trying to get people to vote for your show. Yeah. So both Isabel or Roshan.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a challenge, right? Like, I mean, to answer your first question, which is how does it feel? It feels unbelievable. It feels surreal. Like, I think every day Isabel and I kind of felt like, and A, like it was a bit of a dream come true, but then also B, I think the sheer intimidation of going up against the other nominees, right? Because a lot of them, like for instance, I can say personally for 3 of them, right? Like Rachel Shafkin, who did live from Mount Olympus, was one of our competitors. And she did Hadestown and The Great Comet of 1812, which are two of my favorite musicals of all time, right?
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
you have the BBC team. The guy who did that show also did an amazing audio series called Tuman Bay, which is about like people scheming in a sultan's court, and it's so cool. Like these are all people that I'm fans of. You know, like if we weren't on there, I would be voting for them easily. You know, so I think there's this difficult conversation Isabel and I needed to have of like, oh, what is our angle? Like, why should people vote for us? Why would we vote for us? And I think that was really helpful in some ways because it helped us have this conversation of like what are we really trying to do in like a big kind of like larger scale, longer term sense. Like, and that was really nice. And I think realizing that I think we were the first podcasting from Asia was a big thing for us. Just because I think, let's say for instance, Temujin does win, you know, any part of the awards, because it might win People's Voice, might win the judging section, it might win nothing. But let's say that like if it does go through, then maybe the next time a Singaporean gets nominated, they won't have that feeling of like fear that we have now, because they'll know that it's like someone's done it, so it has to be possible. So if we feel this fear now, and the second people don't, that's one nice way of looking at it. Isabel, what about you? How's this been like from your perspective?
I think Isabel is having some audio issue, and I'm having some. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can see myself on camera, but I can't. You guys can see me. So hey, so,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's such an amazing experience that you're listening to it, and I'm really like amazed with the quality and the storytelling, and I'm like telling my Mongolian friends like, you gotta listen to this. It's so happy.
Daniel, I forgot. That's right. It's your first time listening, right?
Yes, I mean I purposely I was like, okay, let's do this together, and yeah, super amazing.
That's so weird. See, I want to shut up. I just want to hear everything you have to say, because it's so rare for me to get to talk to somebody who is actually just coming off of a listen. So what's going through your mind? Like, I want to interview you. Like,
no, I mean like one of the things is like I think like after the second, like as I felt like maybe the first episode I wasn't so captured, but after the second episode it's like, okay, I want to play the next one, I want to play the next one, and so on. It's just sort of like draws you in the story, and I like how you guys like introduce the characters and the dynamics between the friends and so on. Yeah, like you can hear the sound of like of privilege, I want to say, in terms of and how somewhat naive in terms of Temujin is at this point in time. So yeah, this is really amazing. Yep. Thanks for doing this, man.
And I'm really glad you brought that up. Thank you. Like, it's such a privilege for me to hear from like someone in your position. You gave me a perfect chance to spotlight, I think, the two actors that you're talking about, Aditya and Ziad, because I mean, this really is a show about their friendship, right? And like you were saying, Act 2 is literally when the friends meet. So we had long conversations over 4 months of rehearsals for how to tackle the characters, right? So the kind of privilege you're talking about for Aditya, it sounds like the kind of thing where you just like intuit it, but no, he actually drew up, like, he had character references that he brought in written on paper. I think there was like Scar from The Lion King in there. There's Admiral Tarkin from Star Wars. There's like a whole bunch of characters, and he was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about these characters today." I'm like, "Yeah, there's a bit of that. There's a bit of that. There's a bit of that." So he spent months building up that kind of privileged kind of air. And as for Ziad, all I'll say is his focus was on creating a sense of growth in the character. So we meet him as a kid, and then the second part where he is now, you're right, there's like naivete. And I mean, not to give anything away, but you get to hear at the very end of it how that character's journey ends, just in the way he talks. So I'm really excited for you to hear that.
Yeah, and like coming from a history fan point of view, this is actually super interesting to hear it. Like really, really enjoyable. I'm gonna
Amazing. Thank you.
yeah. So
Thank you.
Isabel, are you back or are you still funky connection? Uh, again, everything with the internet we have.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I just want to ask. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
one question, right? So I think maybe we want to give some perspective to how you guys were doing as well, because initially you guys were second, but you were only like, I think I remember what's it? The Daily Show was about 40%, but you guys were like 17. But in the past couple of days, you spike up to like 32 versus 41. I think the last time I checked. Do you want to share with us what happened and what do you do to create the sudden to close the gap between the both of you guys? Yeah, like what amazing things you have been doing.
That's such a great question, and I'm gonna make a request. Isabel, because Isabel Prucho is like our producer, right? So I know she has interesting thoughts, and we have a little chat in the corner. Isabel, could you just type up some stuff that's come to your mind, and I'll read it out loud so everyone can hear what's on your mind. Because like it'd be a shame if I'm the only one talking. But for now, like while Isabel types, I think it was a lot. It was a lot of hard work. I would say that honestly, in some ways, it's been 24/7 for the past 2 weeks. We have like a little Notion board with like things that we have to do every day. I think you think that when something like this goes live, it really is just a matter of you kind of put it out there and people will vote what they want to vote for. But I think the whole thing of building awareness is really, really difficult, especially in the podcasting industry, which I think is something like Raven and Daniel, you guys know very well, right? Like when podcasting is so readily available, I think the downside of that accessibility is that everything's competing for your attention. It's just as easy to listen to like $1 million shows as it is easy to listen to like $0 shows. And like, of course, most people are going to listen to the $1 million shows. And that leaves this question of like, well, how are you going to get people to listen to you? How are you going to get them to care? And I think, so Isabel and I had to sit down at the start and go like, okay, so we understand that we don't stand. We try to sort of get the word out and like get people who have listened to the show. What avenues do they have to tell their friends? And, like, because they're not just going to do that necessarily organically. So we have to create the system where it's like, do we know where people are talking about the show? Are we sort of engaging our fans? Which is a wild thing to have, like to have fans. I think it's something that's still new to us. But I think we had to create this sort of strategy for like talking to press for the first time, right? Learning how to write a press release took a couple of days. Learning how to talk to journalists, right? Like that was a very interesting sort of thing of learning. Like we are so lucky that we got featured in publications from the US, from the Philippines, from Singapore, and that's just like so far, right? And we're so lucky, but like a lot of that, to be very honest, was also us kind of like taking chances and going, well, these people might not care about us, but we're going to send them an email anyway. And I think our hit rate in terms of the number of people who responded versus the number of people who didn't, for every amazing feature we got, I would say there are like 7 or 8 people who we reached out and they never replied. And that's totally okay. I think that's the main thing, is like we've kind of had to learn how to just keep putting ourselves out there, keep talking to the listeners, keep talking to the press, every day kind of just moving forward. And I think the last I saw, the count was at 3340. So I know it was still going up as of yesterday. And whether or not it's enough to win, they blocked out how many people. We can't see the percentage numbers for the last day to make the competition more exciting. Uh, and I think it's just I think honestly the thing I would say is that like it's a lot of very, very hard work, a lot of very, very tough lessons. And if anybody's watching this and they're thinking, hey, we want to run a Webbys campaign next year, all I can say is please talk to us so we can tell you everything that we learned. Because it'd be a shame if like we're the only ones who've learned this once we've gone and like done it the hard way. I really hope the next team from Asia that does this, like we can step in and be like, okay, here are the things you don't send to journalists. Here are the things you don't post on Twitter. Yeah, because a lot of it was just trial and error.
Thanks for sharing. Daniel, do you have any other questions before we go on to streaming the last two? Sorry for interrupting.
No worries. I know someone. I know someone from Jedediah. Actually, amazing insight.
Oh, Jedediah.
Yeah, and someone.
Hey, thanks, man.
Someone from the South China Morning Post is actually gonna write a feature about you guys, basically, through the podcast collective.
Sure. That's so kind. I think, and you know what? That is the first time we've not reached out to somebody. I just learned about this as well, and that is so amazing that this person did this. I think that is. I've learned that journalists always have like so much on their plate, right? So for anyone to volunteer their time like that, to me, I think this is one of the first times that's happened, and I'm so grateful. Really. So I just learned about that as well.
And before we proceed, Isabel, do you have the connection?
No.
No.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
otherwise, I'll just keep talking. But if the connection's like
perfectly.
a problem,
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Shall I?
Okay.
Okay, cool. I sound super choppy for myself, so I'm just gonna keep. I was able to hear pockets of what Roshan was saying, and completely agree. Lot of trial and error. I think the one thing I would stress is to keep trying and never really don't limit yourself at first, because I think maybe sometimes because you're a small team, you're like, oh, maybe maybe small team, small reach, let's just be greedy, ask for things. not greedy, but you never know. You really never know until you try. And I think a lot of I think a lot of what we were able to achieve was just us saying who knows what you could do. It sounds very fluffy, but I do think that so much of it is just taking that first step to be there's believing in your story as well. This is something I made and I want to share, and you can if you really own that, you never know where you're gonna end up. And really, I think so much the Webbys has been so fantastic. I think so much of it has also come from the community that we found and the community that we nurtured around the show over time. I don't think these folks just kind of showed up out of nowhere. They were people that we've been blessed to know for some time now, and think good things. If you put good things out into the world, good things come back, I think, and we've been very fortunate to experience that.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really hope.
I hope that.
Really hope.
I hope people could hear that.
We hope to wake up to good news tomorrow.
Okay, shall we proceed with the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna. It's rude to say that you have favorite children, but the next two acts are my favorite ones in the show, so I'm excited.
Okay, on with Act 4.
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 4.
Now, after almost a decade, all the pieces were finally in place. The place in question, My flourishing empire in the Horhanag Valley, not far from the Onan River and my beloved forest. Fertile land stretched from farther than the eye could make out. And people, a united herd the likes of which the steppes had never seen before. Each day we grew in strength and numbers. While we had capable warriors on average, my work courting white-boned aristocrats had not gone to waste. There was now powerful blood in my camp, my blood chiefest among them. Temujin and his family rode at the front of my train, by my side. I saw immediately to his comfort. The finest gears for his wife and his mother, and their very own herding animals. Within 5 minutes of stepping foot on my camp, I had given him everything he ever wanted. And it was a trifle.
This is more than we can repay, Jamuk.
Is that why you're looking so distressed?
Distressed? I'll never have to hunt for a meal again.
If anything, you'll finally get to enjoy the sport of it.
Like you always have?
I've never had anything quite like this. No one ever has. And we've only just begun.
Is that the plan, then? An empire to surpass Attila?
Attila was short-sighted. Brilliant conqueror, yes, but his empire fell victim to its own size. Domesticated by its own subjects, chewing away at itself from the outside in. This is quite different. There are countless ways for an empire to fall apart, but only so many ways to hold one together.
Huh. What's yours?
The beating heart of Mongol tradition. There'll be no degradation or decay here, no unwanted change. We will force the world to adapt to us, not the other way around.
I can't say I know much about Mongol tradition.
Let me teach you.
Another lesson. I'm not sure what good it would do a scavenger.
You are the sworn brother to the most powerful tribal leader on the steppes. Pretty important person to impress. Which is why it worries me that you still look so uneasy.
Is it really that obvious?
Maybe to the people who know you. Have you been speaking with your wife?
Nothing more than small talk.
Oh. Is this about the child?
Maybe. I don't know. Yes.
Do you love her?
Yes. With all my heart, yes. But I know how seriously people take family lineage.
What people?
Everyone. All my life, that's the reason I've been tossed around. Son of the wrong father. And this child, maybe it's mine. I've considered that. It's possible. Or it could be the child of some low-life Merkit raider. Just as likely. How could I put anyone else through that? Least of all Borte.
What does she think?
She said she'll hear my decision.
What are you leaning towards?
I don't know. What do you think, Jamuk?
As I understand it, you want what's best for this child. Yes or no?
Yes.
You're right to consider family lineage. Here's your first lesson in Mongol tradition. Lineage is everything. My empire has been built on white-boned men and women whose influence alone has rendered us almost invincible. Remember, if you're playing to win...
Bring your best pieces, I remember. I also remember what you told me to do with the rest.
Your child will be nothing like the rest.
What?
So long as your family remains in my camp, you will be treated like the nobility you've always been. As my brother, you would be white-boned, and any child of yours would be raised and regarded as a high aristocrat.
And if it isn't my child?
If you say it is, no one would challenge you.
But would they believe me?
Who cares? As a man of power, my right-hand man, you could tell people that night is day and they'd adjust their hours accordingly.
Did you just offer me a position?
Do you accept?
I'm running out of ways to thank you.
You'll never have to again. I left my new right-hand man to commiserate with his bride. And before you chime in about where I was or where I wasn't, understand that this was my camp. In this place I had 100 eyes, 100 years, trained on my singular curiosity. So it was, hidden. I observed.
I'm sorry.
So we're on speaking terms now.
I don't know what to say. I left you alone.
I look after myself well enough, thanks.
You have every right to be upset.
Why would I be upset? You all but abandoned your pregnant, recently kidnapped wife to have a good hard think.
Doesn't bode well for me as a father, does it?
Father? So you're sure? Even
That's
if...
my decision. But I'd like to hear yours.
I'm relieved. If you'd taken any longer to make up your mind, I might have had to run back and marry my kidnapper.
You wouldn't have really... Would you?
No. I'd kill him, actually. You probably deserve to know that. I slit his throat right before I found you. It's funny, I spent almost a year listening to his every little worry, every attempt to woo me, to win me over. I think he wanted me to pity him. I did, after a while. I really knew him by the end of it. And then I slew him.
You did that? To get back to me?
I had no idea you'd be there. That was luck. Great luck. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic luck.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Really?
I love you.
I know. And I love you too. I do. But I need you to be better than this. You may have needed some time to grieve, but you need to be fine without me.
It's so hard to imagine you gone.
You have a lot of love to give, Temujin. Your mother, me, this little thing. We're lucky to be on the receiving end of it. But don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way.
I don't like where this is going.
Tough, but I think I've earned it.
Go ahead.
Just because you love me doesn't mean you need me. That's not how this works.
Of course I need you.
Look what you managed without me. You rallied an army, you negotiated with Khans, you found us a place to stay while we recover.
Jamuk was responsible for most of that.
He helped, but only after you sought him out.
I didn't even really...
Listen, you don't need him. You don't need any of us, and I didn't need you to rescue me either. I had to learn to take care of myself, and I always will, no matter what. But you even think about pulling the silent treatment on me again. I've already killed one husband. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
I did miss you.
I missed you too.
I know.
Their child entered the world not long after.
George, look at those hazel eyes. You couldn't open them any wider if you tried. You really are your mother's son. Our son. My son. I named you. George. Guest. We chose you. I haven't chosen many things in my life, but I'm choosing you. And I swear, George, every choice I make from here on out is for you. You were born to a world that isn't ready for you, but I'm going to fix that. All right? People can be cruel. They care about silly things like who your dad is, who he isn't. They'd kill for it. And you don't even know what killing is yet. What am I talking about? You don't understand a word I'm saying. Do you? I'm afraid, George. I'm afraid that people still aren't ready for you. I'm afraid I won't be able to change them in time. What else can I do? If I can't change the way they think, I'll find a way. I swear it, on Burhan Khaldun, on Tengri above, I will do whatever it takes to make the world right. For you. So help me, whatever it takes. Jamuk, you want to see him?
Did you settle on a name?
George.
Guest? Whose guest is he supposed to be exactly? Yours or mine?
I don't know. A bit of both.
Well, I'm honored you thought of me.
It's hard not to while we're here. Hey, I'm ready to get to work.
Your son was just born. You can take all the time you need.
Now, it's about time I started earning our right to be here, Jamuk. I'd rest easier that way.
All right, then. I won't fight you on this.
What's the first thing we need done?
What, right now?
Yeah. Try me.
I have an idea. Another under ceremony. To formally introduce you to the world as my sworn brother and right-hand man.
Let's do it.
The festivities were just frivolous enough. Maybe a little more than that. But this was meant to be a statement. All the gold, all the noise served to emphasize the words of the day.
This man, Jamuk, is my sworn brother, and I am his.
This man, Temujin, is to rule our great empire at my right hand.
About the gifts.
Beautiful, aren't they?
Now, don't get me wrong, I could always use a good belt. And all the gold doesn't hurt either.
So this works out.
It doesn't matter that both of these are technically from you.
What's yours is now yours. Cherish it.
I will. Here.
And yours. And now, the spilling of blood. Your turn.
Temujin, a moment?
Of course.
I know you mentioned wanting to work, but his right hand?
Life here has been good, hasn't it?
It's been comfortable, sure.
Well, this secures it.
We've never needed comfort to be happy.
Good, then. We have more than we need.
We've never needed to serve anyone either.
I'm not serving Jamuk. I'm ruling alongside him.
As his right-hand man, that's not what you call your equal.
Oh, what's wrong? Why can't you see that this is a good thing?
You know I want the best for you.
And I'm saying that's exactly what this is. We'll have power here.
It's not about power. After everything you told me about serving Begder, I thought you'd never want to put yourself in that position again. You risked everything to be free of him.
Jamuk is nothing like Begder. Begder was cruel. He didn't care about the lives of his people, his own family. I never submit myself to that ever again.
And what would happen if you did? What then?
Jamuk is my brother.
So what?
Brother, sister. Enjoying the festivities?
Jamuk, we were just talking about you.
We were discussing his new position.
If there were a higher honor to give, it would already be yours.
And that'd be 2 honors in one day. Jamuk, you could afford to slow down.
That is possibly the one thing I can't afford. I trust you've settled in nicely with Jutsu?
Our accommodations are perfect. You've really been too kind, Jamuk.
Don't you worry. I'll be giving this one ample opportunity to work off his debt. Before then, follow me for a second, Temujin.
Hello. So, who's this?
This is something I think your family could use. He's a black-boned servant. He can help out with the animals, tend to Jutsu, whatever you see fit.
Ah, that's... what's his name?
Call him whatever you'd like. But don't get too excited now.
No, I'm grateful. It's just... I used to serve the slaves in my father's old tribe. Did I tell you about that?
You mentioned you were brought into slavery, the very idea of which is still ludicrous to me.
I served them, the slaves. Maybe this will take some getting used to.
Take your time with that. Tomorrow morning we leave for the Onghan's camp. It's time I showed you how a successful empire is run.
Thank you, Jamuk. If I could ask...
You may.
How many black-boned people are there in this camp?
I honestly don't know. More than you'd think. But it's not worth thinking about, Temujin.
No, yeah. You're right.
Just rest. We'll be at the court by evening. And don't forget your,
yes. Come along.
There were warning signs that early on. I didn't pay them much heed. There was reason to celebrate, and I was still consumed by the sense of catharsis that comes with rewarded patience. My empire was nearing its end. It felt like it had just begun.
Jamuk! And, Temujin, was it?
Yes, Great Han. At your pleasure.
Wonderful. I sent for you to follow up on the, Mirkid issue.
Our reports estimate roughly 300 of them were killed in our raid. We could have gotten more, but a sizable number fled when they saw us approaching.
Wonderful.
Wasn't the point of the raid to rescue Borte?
That's not how we sold it.
I want to make sure their spirits remain, how shall we say, adequately crushed. Can you help me with that, Jamuk?
Certainly.
Sir, may I ask a question?
You may.
Do you hate the Mirkid?
Well, I don't hate anyone. You see, I'm a practicing Christian, and I make it a point to think the best of those who have wronged me in the past, even if they kidnapped me into slavery for several long, pain-filled years, or any other such sin. It's important to forgive, you see.
My father's tribe did the same thing to me.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry it happens so often. It's exactly the kind of thing Jamuk and I are looking to put an end to.
Careful. Don't speak for the both of us.
I appreciate the, sentiment. Genuinely. But the current matter has nothing to do with my emotional disposition towards the Mirkid.
Quite right.
It is only quite simply the fact that they're a foul plague upon these lands and someone ought to put an end to their nonsense. Their attitudes and habits are poisonous. That's all.
Not emotional in the slightest.
Quiet. I mean it.
What do you propose, Jamuk?
They're spread out over too wide an area at the moment. So, routing them in one swoop isn't an option. What's worse, if we drag out our fights for too long, they might use that momentum to gain support and rally more tribes against us. So we can't afford a skirmish. But I offer you an alternative. Fear.
Go on.
A singular attack with a strong message. As a Christian, O Han, you may not be aware of our people's belief in the unity of body and spirit.
I am somewhat aware. You could refresh my memory.
We believe that our spirits, our very essences, are one with our body, down to the way we smell. This is why we refrain from having blood spilled in close-range combat, why we stick to long-range battles and our arrows. It is, in its own way, a form of respect. Now, you asked me how we could break their spirits.
I did.
I say we break their bodies.
What?
We round up a large enough group of their black-boned and lowest-born, and we tear them apart. We slice off their heads and limbs and spread word of what happens to mere kid who step out of line.
Only their lowest born?
It's important we hurt them hard enough to send a message, but not to the extent that they would seek retaliation. No one would miss a herd of black-boned servants, though they would most certainly fear sharing their fate.
Jamuk, I don't know.
Not now, Temujin.
I don't know about
You!
this plan.
You have doubts? Did he discuss them with you?
Forgive us, Ong Han. It's his first time in a room like this.
No, it's just... I mean, if we disagree with Merkid rule, why go after their lowest rungs? What would that really change? Why not do away with their decision makers? The people most responsible for their poisonous disposition?
Well, Is that possible?
A targeted strike at their elite class? Not to my knowledge, Ong Han. Unless Temujin knows something I don't.
I'm only here to learn. Forgive me if I've overstepped my boundaries.
Well...
Ong Han, do I have your permission to proceed?
As always, Jamuk. Come here. You be careful of this Temujin. Make sure he knows his place. And you're a bright young man. Eh? Don't let him keep you down. Bless you both. Don't be strangers.
What was that?
I asked a couple of questions, that's all. I'm here to learn, right?
There's asking questions, and then there's questioning me in my place of work.
Our place of work?
I had a plan.
That you executed fine. The Ong Khan seems pleased enough.
He always does. Until he doesn't. We don't want to toe that line.
All right. Do you trust me?
Yes, of course.
Then you can trust that this was a learning experience for me.
So you understand what I was suggesting just now?
I understand it.
But you don't agree?
I don't know. Maybe I have more to learn.
Maybe you do. But there's no better place for you to do that than by my side. Watching, listening, learning.
I do believe that. Still. Are we done here?
I'll meet you outside. I know what you might be thinking. That this, the moment of our first real disagreement, marked the beginning of the end. That I never truly forgave Temujin for challenging me, much less in front of the Ong Han. This couldn't be further from the truth. The man in that room spoke of rooting out the heart of all evil, however unlearned he seemed to me at the time. That was not the voice of a scavenger. It was something more, something I had caught a glimpse of when we were still just boys. And once I had purged that transient feeling of shame, I was ecstatic. He and I continued making trips to the Ong Han, conducting raid after successful raid on his behalf, further solidifying our place in the annals of history. I basked in that feeling. I cherished it, knowing full well it would not last. I returned one night to news of treason.
I almost shot him. I was one step away from my bow, and he had followed me all the way back to my ger, peeking at me from the side, trying to get a look at my face.
You'd never seen him before?
He was black-boned, I could tell that much. Dressed in tatters, fidgety, the type of person with nothing to lose.
The type of person with nothing to gain by hurting you.
I know that. I mean, I know that now. It was instinct.
But you didn't shoot.
No. I hesitated.
It's good that you still have your guard up.
I don't know how you lived your whole life like this. I really can't imagine.
You'll find out for yourself.
How did you deal with it?
You'll have to be more specific.
You know, the feeling that every terrible thing beyond your control, that it could all happen again when you least expect it.
You prepare.
But how do you even...
You can't actually prepare for any of it. Not really. But if you're going to be afraid, you might as well wring some motivated work out of it. Better than sitting around shivering anyway.
Productive fear. Sure.
And what did your poor black-boned visitor want?
Oh. It's a long story, but he wanted to share this dream.
A vision?
A dream.
Describe it to me in as much detail as you can remember.
Why? Can you explain it?
We'll see.
Okay, well. So, in his dream, there's a cow and an ox, each doing their own thing. The cow is circling Jamuk, who's in a cart. It starts ramming its horns into the cart, and then Jamuk himself, and it breaks off one of its horns while doing this and moos with surprising eloquence, "Give me my horn! Give me my horn!"
I see.
Right? And the ox, it was either white or yellow, I can't remember. It takes Jamuk's cart and drags it to Temujin. This one moves. Heaven and earth agree that Temujin Khan should be the master of all nations.
Fascinating.
So you know what it means?
Division? Not at all. But it doesn't take a shaman to see that these black-boned men are fawning over your husband.
I wonder what that means for us.
It doesn't have to mean anything.
It doesn't. But this is my productive fear talking. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about this situation with Jamuk. We can't live off of sentiment. Feelings change, and the last thing we need is to be thrown out onto the plains without horses or supplies. We wouldn't survive that. But if we chose to leave, we'd get to do it on our own terms.
Jamuk has been a generous host so far.
We're completely at his mercy.
A mercy that has fed, clothed, and sheltered you through childbirth.
It may be worth the risk.
You're a mother now.
Thanks for the reminder.
The word risk should have a different meaning to you.
Of course I want the best for Joch.
Then you should know that the best you can hope for is his survival. No more than that, nothing is guaranteed. Not out there. If anyone should understand that, it's you. If you want freedom, we're all free to waste away on the plains. It's a freedom I'm familiar with. I fought all my life not to lose any more children. And I'm tired, Borte.
I understand. Temujin does seem happy here, too.
But you're not, are you?
As they chatted away in their tent, I was given a rough sketch of their deceit from my men stationed nearby, of plans to steal off in the night, of false prophecies, and of their deep-seated distrust. That, at least, had proved mutual. I knew that I would have to confront this now or risk losing everything. No more beating around the bush. Ladies!
Jamuk, what a pleasant surprise.
Drop the act.
What are you saying?
Give me my horn! Give me my horn!
So you've heard about the dream?
I find the part where I'm stabbed to death by a cow rather tasteless.
I never said otherwise.
I need you to answer me honestly. You'll agree I deserve that much.
Of course.
Have you, at any time, plotted against me?
Why would I? A plot against you is a plot against Temujin.
Have you, or have you not, conspired for him to usurp my rule?
I've done no such thing, I assure you. Jamuk, you're scaring me. This is our gear and...
This is my gear. You slander my name, conspire against me, and lie to my face, all in my own property?
You said you had given it to us.
Let me be clear. If you try anything, if you steal from me or my people, or wrong me in any way whatsoever, family or no, I will not hesitate to put you to death.
And what do you think you're saying?
Now you listen to...
You listen to your mother. Have you lost your mind?
I can see clearly what's going on here.
Barging into the house of your sworn brother's wife, threatening to kill her? This is something you're doing with your wits about you.
Not kill, I think I've made myself clear. I leave you to your privacy.
Jamuk.
What?
Because I'm so grateful. I won't tell Temujin what you said tonight.
I don't owe you a thing.
No. We're even.
There was no coming back from that. She would remain quiet, yes, but the instability. That was the end of that dreamlike state. That fantasy that everything might turn out all right. Just this once. I'm not proud of how deeply this unsettled me. What happened next was perhaps a tragedy of poor timing. Temujin came to see me later that very night, after the incident at his wife's gear.
Gotcha.
What?
Not sure if I can still redeem that hunting lesson.
No. No, forgive me. I'm a little on edge tonight. What is it?
I was wondering if I could talk with you.
What about?
These past couple of months have been unlike anything else, Jamuk.
If you're here to thank me, I've already told you there's no need to...
I've brought some proposals. I've been doing what you said, just watching and listening. I think I've picked up on some areas where we could be doing better.
Oh, have you?
Yes. Excuse me. Hadan?
Sir.
This is...
Oh, sorry. Hadan is the man you suggested I employ.
Employ?
He tried his hands at a number of things, and we've discovered that he's an excellent cook. It doesn't hurt that he loves doing it. Here, he's brought some snacks for you.
Enjoy.
So, you have your slave cooking for you. That's good.
More than that, we've discovered what he's good at. I wouldn't discount the work of a good chef. My father was poisoned, you remember? Now, the work he's been doing has justified a higher quality of life than we had initially afforded him.
You have a point.
I think maybe we've been going about this all wrong.
If by we, you mean century after century of steppe Mongols.
Yeah, I do. I've been thinking a lot about our plan to change the world, Jamuk, and it just seems like hewing strictly to tradition isn't the quickest way to do it.
What do you propose then?
Restructuring our society. Ground up. Screen people for skill, not bloodlines. Have people that we trust do what they're good at, instead of rewarding layabouts for popping out of the right wombs, calling them...
White-boned? aristocrats?
Yes.
Temujin, this is
Yes?
ludicrous. I can't believe this.
What can't you believe?
What did I tell you? Your first day here. We have one thing going for us. One thing that will keep this empire from the brink of collapse, where all others have failed.
Tradition.
Tradition. Tradition means white bones and black bones. It means the hundreds of aristocrats whose influence keeps your family safe in this camp. It means your slave, whose cooking has you so euphoric.
I'm trying to say, maybe he shouldn't be my slave.
I'd gladly take him off your hands.
I have many more suggestions, Jamuk, if you'd like to hear them.
Try me.
Okay, I think we need to clamp down on the exchange of women as goods to be traded and totally outlaw kidnapped brides.
Oh, I see.
I think our people should be free to worship however they choose.
What you're suggesting, that isn't a Mongol empire.
I got all this from our time together, Jamuk. From the meetings with the Ong Khan, from talking with the people in the camp, from...
You learned wrong!
From the way you treated me. When I had nothing. When I was nothing. Other people deserve that chance. They won't be as lucky as I am to have someone like you swoop in and fix their lives for them. You said you saw nobility in me. Why not him?
Oh, nobility? In this? Yes, I see it now. That's why you've got him all dressed up, isn't it? Even nicer than you.
What are you doing?
I believe a man is what he wears. What do you think, Hadan? Respond.
No, you don't have to respond. Jamuk.
Are you more a man than your master?
No.
There! Now you look your part.
As if you look yours.
Found your voice, have you?
You heard me.
Quite the tongue on this one. As ill-fitting as his robe was.
You wouldn't.
I'm not afraid of you.
He's forgotten why he should be. Let me teach you.
This has gone too far, Jamuk.
I agree.
I had to.
Oh, Temujin.
What?
During our next visit to the Ong Khan, wait outside his court for me.
You can't be serious.
Whatever is in your system, you need to let it pass.
I'm sorry, Jamuk, but I refuse. We are in this together.
You are my right-hand man. Remember that.
I see.
Don't take it too hard. You have a lot left to learn.
Sure.
Good night, Temujin.
I'll see you, Jamuk.
And there it was. The end. Temujin walked into Borthe's tent. Instantly, I scrambled my personal guard, had them on standby. Just in case. I stood watch all night, waiting for him to prove the worst part of me right. Sure enough, in the dead of night, barely visible to the world, Temujin moved his family, and as many of his animals as he could tow along, off into the distant plains. And as they trudged along in this dark and dreary pilgrimage of theirs, the most remarkable thing happened. Others around them hearing the shuffling outdoors, noticing who it was that was leaving, scramble to follow. Can you imagine? I would later learn the exact answer to Temujin's question of just how many black-boned members of my tribe there were. They sauntered slowly enough that a team of my best archers had time to set up a perimeter around them. Unseen, steady aim. Within seconds, I could have laid waste to them. The edge of my lips itched, ever so ready to speak those few words that would have protected everything I spent my life building. 3 words. Kill them all. And the world would be mine. Heavens, that moment refused to end. The choice lingering, offering itself up again and again and again, and each time the end result was the same. Mark this. I allowed Temujin to live, fully aware of everything I had given to him. A man with an ambition that I had personally seen to stoking, with resources that I helped him cultivate, with people who had once pledged their loyalty to me. Here were the seeds of your proud Mongol empire. And there I was, the gardener, lost in the weeds.
Are you done? It sounds like you're done.
I have more to say. The war, my title, the people who called me Gurhan.
But you don't have the time to say it. Take a look. The sun's almost up.
Are you satisfied?
You're asking if I think you're any less of a monster.
I'll admit I was hoping.
Tell me, one last time, what do you expect will happen at dawn?
I think I've said. I'll have full command of your troops, land of my own.
In simple terms, you have nothing to gain from pride now.
And nothing left to lose, yeah, sure. Your Han and I, we didn't part on bad terms. It was his wife and mother. They capitalized on a moment of insecurity before he and I had the chance to talk things out further. It wasn't his choice.
So you think?
I know he wanted us to rule as equals back then. And I have been careful, even in the height of our decades-long tiff, not to put him in any real danger on my account. He'll have noticed that.
Let's say that Genghis Khan takes you back with loving arms.
Because I've earned it.
Sure.
What's left to say? Unless you still think your hatred supersedes his authority?
I don't hate you.
There you go.
How could I? It sounds like you had no idea what you were doing. It's pathetic.
I did what I had to do. Just like your Genghis Khan. I hear he's got more teeth on him now than he's ever had.
You met my grandfather once. You may not remember him. You tossed his torso into a cauldron and strapped his head to the back of a stampeding horse. Look me in the eyes and tell me that was necessity.
I only did that to black-boned shepherds.
How do you feel right now, knowing that your care depends utterly on an inferior piece?
So Chinggis Khan has his lowborns doing big boy work.
You can keep calling me names. Quite honestly, I couldn't care less. There's no happy ending for you here, Jamuk.
See what your Khan thinks.
You want to try co-ruling an empire founded by the people you mistreated? It's like you said. There are 100 ways an empire can crumble.
What the people think, that won't matter if they're given an order.
The people matter to him. That's why he still has any.
I matter to him.
So you'd have him choose between you and his empire.
He'd make it work.
If you really loved Genghis Khan, maybe you'd be a little less keen to bring him down with you.
None of this would have been possible without me.
Maybe so.
I was good to them too. I was good.
You didn't care about any of them. Not really.
That's what you think?
That's what everyone thinks.
Everyone?
Yeah.
And they really love him, do they?
Almost as much as they hate you. I do have a question.
Not a taunt? What a refreshing change of pace.
Why tell me all this? Because it wasn't to prove that Genghis Khan loves you.
What other reason could I have?
I don't think you were doing this for me.
There was still time for a little more, wasn't there?
You'd made your point.
Maybe so, but there was time. I could have...
This was Act 4 of Temujin, an audio drama.
Temujin, an audio drama. Act 5.
Genghis Khan, great Khan, sir.
Ah, the Christian. Yes, come in.
I'm blessed to be in your tent, in your presence.
That's quite all right.
You're spoken of like a god by your people.
If I were a god, I wouldn't be so keen to hear about yours, would I?
Rightly said, great Khan.
I'm sorry I haven't been able to greet you sooner. Tell me your name.
William. William of Rubric. I'm a Franciscan. Do you know what a Franciscan...
Of course.
Oh, really?
You're not the first missionary I've entertained, William of Rubric.
I must admit, I was thrilled to hear you had an interest in our faith.
Oh, yes. Among others.
Oh.
Just tonight, I entertained a Taoist scholar from China. He stood where you do now. An older man, but I compelled him to make the long trip here. His students had spoken so highly of him, and he did not disappoint. And then there was this Islamic scholar from Baghdad. A stubborn man, but very clever.
A Muslim?
Don't let that deter you.
My wisdom pales in comparison to yours, O Khan. I'm no scholar.
But you are a devout Christian.
With all my soul, yes.
Then you're of use to me. So long as you are, I'll hold you as close to my heart as anybody else in this camp.
And if my usefulness should, expire?
If it comes to that... What, are you afraid of me, William?
No. Yes? Should I be?
You're nervous. I can understand that, but there's no need for ceremony here. Why, look at this. This is the same robe I sleep in. Are these the trappings of a king? A god?
They are very plain robes.
They are, aren't they? I like to think of myself as a plain man, in spite of everything. And we can talk plainly here.
Of course, that sounds wonderful. Would you like to know more about the sacrament of baptism?
I have an issue that I'd like to run by you, actually, concerning the affairs of war.
I'm unschooled in military strategy, O Khan.
But you are trained in Christian theology and ethics, are you not?
I am.
That'll do. I think they're inseparable, you know? War and what pleases heaven.
Do you believe in heaven, Great Khan?
Your heaven, you mean?
Is that a yes?
I strive to do what is good. In my 40 years now, I've seen that the virtuous rise as surely as the wicked fall. You might say this is the work of your God, his all-encompassing design.
Well,
many of my people say it's the work of the sky, Tengri, of the spirits that comprise all of nature.
What do you believe? If I may so humbly ask, O Khan, which one do you think is right?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. What I do know is this. So long as I am in the right, I will never fail. In war, in all things. And as someone who considers himself versed in the study of what is right, what pleases heaven, your insight is vital to my continued success.
Then how might I help you please heaven, Great Khan?
Do you believe we have an obligation to strike down evil where we see it?
Oh. Strike down?
Kill. If it comes to it.
I mean, you're asking me this, Great Khan.
If you have a question, you can ask me directly, William.
I don't mean to criticize you.
I'm counting on you too. I've told you this.
I'm sorry. All I mean is, you are not known for your pacifism, Great Khan.
You might have difficulty believing this, but I have never waged a war in my entire life. I've only ever fought out of necessity or self-defense.
Until now?
A small city to the west. They slaughtered my envoys, sliced off all of their heads, these unarmed travelers, save one. I had only asked for their hand in trade, but their leaders were proud. They delighted in the flow of so-called barbarian blood.
Oh.
Now, left alone, these men would pose no threat to us.
But you don't want to leave them alone.
I want to mobilize a force to raise them from the face of the earth. The corrupt among them, those who delight in senseless bloodshed. I could do it easily.
I see.
But would I be in the right?
Well, I believe you're a man of principle,
But I know about your sixth holy commandment, thou shalt not kill. Doing so needlessly would put me in the wrong, would it not?
Actually, theologians have noted a distinction in Exodus between killing and the original Hebrew word, which is closer to murder, which is to say, thou shalt not kill with intention, premeditation, and malice.
And what I described isn't malice?
Not if you're killing the corrupt to spare the innocent.
There would be needless casualties. Countless innocent lives lost. My own men, their blameless citizens. And my orders would kill with fullest intention, fullest premeditation.
I don't know what you're asking.
Do you hear malice in what I'm suggesting? The slaughter of hundreds, thousands, just to punish the few who deserve it?
I have complete faith in you, oh great and powerful Khan.
Cut that out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You really are terrified of me, aren't you?
What?
What do you think I called you here for? Validation?
No.
What then? Religious conversion?
I guess not.
Look at me. I'm flesh and blood. A man, same as you.
I see that.
So why should you fear me like a god?
Doesn't everyone?
I need you not to. Could we at least agree to that?
Great Khan.
What, is the sun up already?
I've urgent news.
What is it, Timur?
You know my name.
You've done fine enough work to warrant that, and more. But I was just finishing up with this...
Timur! We've spoken, haven't we? You're the guard who's never killed...
We're holding the warlord Jamuk prisoner.
The Gur Khan? How? When?
He was brought in by 2 of his slaves earlier tonight. But I know you asked not to be disturbed until dawn.
We'll pick this up later, William.
About your issue. I'll be prepared to help you reach a decision.
I gave the order yesterday.
Oh. Have a good day, Chinggis.
All 3 await your sentencing. The slaves have only requested shelter for all the trouble they've gone through.
Assemble them immediately, here, in my gir. Oh, and fetch something respectable for the Gur Khan to wear.
Right away, O Khan.
You'll never guess what I found.
You left an hour ago to find milk.
Couldn't find curds though.
Give me a sip. Incredible.
Right? But, you know, I don't actually remember what good milk tastes like. This could be near spoiled. I wouldn't even be able to tell.
That's a gift, being so easy to please.
You make it sound like a bad thing. Hey, what do you think our reward will be?
My head tells me we should keep our expectations low. But I'm thinking, a farm? Maybe a post? Any kind of soldiering would do.
Maybe Genghis Khan will shake our hands. I hear he's a nice guy.
Yeah, we'll see. How much time do you think we have left?
Well, the sun's been up for quite a bit.
Are you both ready?
Not quite, but let's go.
Hey, God, have you tried the milk?
Is that from the place next door?
Yeah, that's the one.
It's awful.
What do you think our chances are like?
You know I can't say.
But you vouch for us, right?
I doubt I'd have much of a voice. But if it comes up, I could mention how cooperative the 2 of you have been.
That's more than enough. Thank you.
Oh, don't thank me yet. We'll have to fetch your Khan on the way over.
You left him alone? How do you know he didn't just run off while you weren't looking?
Oh, trust me. The man has nowhere left to run. You will show due respect while in the presence of Genghis Khan. He decides if you live to see another sunrise. Understood?
Yes.
Yep. I have a message for the great Genghis Khan. If he will hear it...
What's he doing?
I don't know. Great Khan, I'll deal with this.
I'll hear it. It has come to pass that black crows seize the mandarin duck, that commoners and slaves lay hands on their great Khan. My wise, sworn brother, how do you abide this crime?
These are the ones that brought the Gur Khan?
Yes, sir.
Step forward.
We pledge our support to you, Genghis Khan, to the end of our days.
We swear it on our lives.
Kill them both.
No, please, wait. Ah!
That was quite the spectacle, Great Han.
I lack the use or patience for two-faced servants.
There are enough of those running around, aren't there?
Less these days. Less than there have ever been.
You've been busy.
Oh, not so much. Not since all opposition to my rule fell by the wayside. Speaking of which, I hear this is the perfect season for self-imposed exile in the mountains.
You knew? You could have wiped us out at any time.
I've had better things to do with my time, Jamuk.
I can see that. You know, I wasn't sure you'd kill them.
They swore their loyalty on their lives. If they were so willing to abandon the one, it only made sense to rid them of the other. Wouldn't you agree?
This isn't how I remembered you talking.
Well, it might be that your memory's failing you. Old man.
Speak for yourself. We're the same age.
No, if I recall right, you're a year older, aren't you?
I'd forgotten that. But you didn't, did you?
I might still surprise you. For what little it's worth.
These knuckle bones. Are they from...
Yes.
And you kept them clean?
As much as I could, but there's still a bit of...
Yeah. Quite the achievement.
Maybe it's silly. I still remember every word we said that day, Jamuk. About how when you play a game, you bring your best pieces, right?
Is that how I put it?
Of course. It made quite the impression on me.
Did it? I had no idea.
I relied on your lessons, especially in the early days.
Relied?
No, that's not right. I never needed you. I did appreciate you, though.
What do I have to do to get you to stop thanking me, huh?
You could try warring against my people for 20 years.
Is that all? Consider it done. How is Borte?
Between looking after the boys and her rule as empress, she has her work cut out for her. But you know her, that's how she likes it.
Boys! Congratulations! Little Joch is a man now, isn't he?
He is. He's old enough to think he is, anyway. You know, I caught my second-born calling him half-brother recently. I can't begin to describe how terrible it... Maybe that's for another time. Jamuk, did you ever...
No. Nothing like that. No grand successors to this legacy. The world's probably better off for it.
I wouldn't say that. You're a born teacher, Jamuk. Any kid would have been lucky to have you for a father.
But that's not an option now, is it? I can see how this would be for the best.
If things were different, Jamuk, There's no point dwelling.
If this is what you want.
Don't make it about want.
Is it?
You were, and always have been, my sworn brother.
So you think you have to kill me?
What else is there to do?
Yeah, your boy filled me in. I take it the Gurhan isn't popular around here?
But he is well known.
Your people want my head.
They need closure.
And you need?
What my people need.
Go on then, just give the order. Get it done.
Are you testing me?
No, I'm trying to be mature.
After 20 years, now you decide to be mature.
Excuse me?
You're intelligent, Jamuk. You always have been, but you're so stubborn. All the intelligence in the world means nothing if you refuse to learn. If you had just joined with me sooner...
Sooner?
I can't help but dwell. We were born equal, Jamuk. That's how we should have arranged it from the start.
What is this?
What if... What if... you didn't have to die?
Careful. That almost sounded like an offer.
I'm a simple man, Jamuk. I don't mince words like you. You smell awful.
I know. Great Han, you realize we're not alone here?
I'm well aware.
Your boy over there.
What about him?
Nothing. Nothing.
What is it?
What you're suggesting may destroy you.
No need to be dramatic.
Your people still despise me.
Despise is a strong word.
An accurate word.
Yes.
Do you think I deserve it?
I can tell between good and evil, Jamuk.
Answer the question.
You're questioning my judgment?
No, I'm just asking you a question. Have I earned the hate of your people?
I don't hate you.
I know you don't. I've heard your proposition, Great Han, and I've considered it. I have a counter.
What's that?
You need to kill me.
And who are you to tell me what I need?
I wonder.
You wonder what?
Is this how I sounded to you all those years ago? Was I this stubborn?
Watch who you're accusing.
Remind me. Who am I accusing of being a stubborn, self-righteous ass?
I am the sun that lights up the Mongol sky. I am the grand unifier of all people and the scourge of God.
Oh, I like scourge of God.
I am Genghis Khan. And you will show due respect.
What can I say? You've caught me off guard. Want to redeem a lesson? I doubt I have much left to teach you by way of hunting, but it would seem you've forgotten my most important one.
I remember everything you've ever told me.
Yet you only quoted me in half just now. If you're playing to win, bring your best pieces.
But that's exactly what I'm doing.
And toss the rest. I'm far from your best piece, Temujin. I'm barely a piece. I was your brother once, Temujin. I wish I still could be. Now I'm just the louse in your collar, the splinter at your doorframe. I could bring down your empire with a single public embrace.
Our empire. It's always been ours.
If you so badly wish to honor me, you could give me an aristocratic end, without shedding my blood.
You can't tell me this is what you wanted.
Is it so out of character for me to act in your best interests?
Only minutes ago I could see it written on your face. You...
And who are you to tell me what I want?
I could so easily refuse everything you've asked for.
You owe me, Temujin. You know that.
Timur?
Yes, Genghis Khan.
Give the Guru Khan what he wants.
I'm ready whenever you are, Timur.
Is it done?
Yes.
Then go. Tell the world. I am the lone sun that lights the morning sky. None remain who would challenge the reign of Genghis Khan, who has crushed the Gur Khan under his heel. Anyone in this world who would oppose me will meet the same fate, Mongol or no.
I'll spread the word, Great Khan.
Timur, you've done well today. Very well. My royal guards have an opening in their day shift, if the post is of any interest to you.
That would be an honor.
You've proven yourself valuable.
Great Khan, there's one last thing. I've searched him for valuables. He was wearing this when he came in. A golden belt. Do you recognize it?
Bury it with him.
This was Act 5 of Temujin.
Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
And I am still without a video, so it's alright.
It's a black void.
That's okay. Hi, Black Void.
Okay, so wow, it was still amazing. I mean, after hearing it the second time. Yeah, and the thing is, like, listening for the second time, it helps me absorb some of the stuff I might have missed out the first time round. So some of the details, like, it just, like, I appreciate certain, I think I appreciate certain, I guess, nuances, especially to the soundscape. Because the first time I listened to it was more just like, I think I was more focused on the story. So now that I knew the story, so I can, like, take a breather. I can listen to more, like, more of what I guess the atmosphere, the effects, the music. I get to, because we did the session last week, right? So I get to think about how they all come and integrate together. So yeah, it was really great. How about you, Daniel?
What are some of the details that stood out to you? You mentioned that, like, some stuff cropped up in the second watch. What were they?
I guess it's a lot to do with the sound, because I remember I said it was minimalistic, right? And I think actually I might need to take the word back, because it's not like it's not cinematic, but at the same time, there's actually a lot of detail in the audio. Actually, there are a lot of layers going on. But I think because the first time I was like really into the story, I didn't realize that there was actually more there. But I guess maybe it's great, right? The first time I listen, you're just like because of the acting, because of the story, and so I just focus on it. But the second time I take it, I can listen. I think more the details in the background, and also I guess I can understand the characters a bit better because now I know the plot. Because first time around, it's like sometimes you're trying to figure out what's going on, or what does the belt, oh shit, did I miss out something? And I scroll back, like, oh, what happened? Why is there a belt? What happened?
Definitely.
Yeah, stuff like that I might miss her. But the second time around, because like I already knew the story, so when you listen to it, I can really appreciate how the production comes together, the whole the whole soundscape rather than or figure out the details of the story. So that's how I feel. Yeah,
I have to say it's totally normal to so Daniel, sorry.
No.
How are things going, Daniel?
I agree. There's a lot of very interesting nuances in terms of the sound design, and I love it, man. Like it's really amazing, and for those who are catching, we still got how many hours more before the final closing vote?
Yes, I know this. It's in Singapore time. It's 3 p.m. tomorrow, so that's 16 hours, I think.
16 hours.
Yes, 16 hours.
Dude,
what are you guys going to do for the last 16 hours?
Yeah.
Well, half of it sleeping.
Not
I
sleeping.
think. we're both a little bit sleep deprived, and I think we've hit a point now where the word is out there. I think people know, and I think this live stream was kind of like a nice way for us to like celebrate. I think the point of it, which was the show, not. So I think this has been really nice. I think spending time with like you, Raven, and you, Daniel, has been like a really wholesome way to like remind ourselves of what the really important thing, which is listening with community. And now the rest of it, sleep. I think sleep and trust. I think everybody who's out there and who's enjoyed this thing. Yeah.
I want to say, oh my God, thanks for actually creating this. This is such an amazing audio journey, and like really appreciate it. And
thank you, Daniel.
I picked the right thing to do to just listen it together with you guys.
Yeah, amazing. So what are some of your questions then, Daniel? Like coming off of this now, what do you think you're most curious about?
I was actually curious about a bit on the choice of the time frame. Why do you end up choosing this as the time frame? I know it's a story about friendship, and that's where the focus was. But is there anything that you actually decided in terms of the various things that you want to highlight, like the Franciscans, basically, for example, like anything in particular?
Yes. So funny that you mentioned the Franciscans. So that's a real guy. There was a real guy named William of Rubruck, and he was a Franciscan scholar who actually wrote about his time with the Mongols. His journey was specifically a bit later, but we moved it up a little bit for him to be here, just because I think it was really interesting that there really was this priest who came and spoke to Genghis Khan and talked about morality and life and death. So like there was that. There was I think generally the fact that the history of the thing, if you look at his life, there's kind of like a before and an after of kind of the Mongol conquests, right? There's kind of like the first 40 years of Genghis Khan's life. One interesting feature of it is that it was all kind of like inter-Mongolia. Like Mongolia didn't exist back then, but it was kind of like contained to sort of securing this one thing, and this one thing which was like uniting the tribes. And what he's most famous for, the whole world conquest angle, was really the final third of his life, technically speaking. Because what's happening here, this is about 40 years old in that final scene. He died about, I think, over the age of 60. so there's about this 20-year period immediately after this final scene of dialogue. He takes about a year to mourn Jamuk and to sort of like consolidate the sort of his newfound sort of status as Genghis Khan. And then what happens is he does this thing, famously, like his first act is to send a bunch of sort of envoys out to announce the Mongol Empire to nearby states, and they get all their heads cut off. And that is cited as like one of the like big moments where he was like, okay, fine, you want to do that to me when I'm being nice? I'll show you that I know how not to be nice. And there's this whole thing that kind of like happens after that point where like you see this side of him sort of manifest on the world stage. And so to get back to your question, which is why did we choose this time frame? Originally we were thinking about maybe doing his entire life in one play, but then we realized that like you know, the Jamukness of it all, this particular story is so important in understanding his state of mind in that second part, and it's such a rich story by itself, that we would focus on doing this part really, really well, because otherwise we risk sort of just, yeah. So what that means is there's room for like a Temujin 2 down the line, where if we ever wanted to cover the final third of his life, I suppose that's an option. But like,
Pretty cool.
the point was to tell one story and tell it well, and that's what we wanted to do here, was one story, tell it well.
Yeah, I was hoping more towards like to the point of Kuban, but yeah, that's quite awesome.
Well, Temujin 3, you know, who knows?
Temujin Cinematic Universe. We're gonna.
That's right, TCU.
Before we let you, what are your final thoughts? Like, what did you guys? What like Isabel? And what you hope to achieve? Have you guys achieved what you guys hope to achieve by this journey?
Yeah.
You first, Isabel.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've listened to the show, just kind of by virtue also of having listened to like different clips of it, trying to put different collateral together. But I was just texting Roshan on the side that for some reason this listen felt different. I don't know. I think there was some like, of course I knew these performances were phenomenal, but something about them today felt like astronomically like celestial. And I think there's so like, this is really, yeah, I think Roshan must have alluded to this. I think he did, is that, you know, we've been campaigning for 2 weeks, and this is just a really nice way to feel like, you know, what we're trying to do here is just share this story with people, not because we made it, but because like there are these like characters to really love and learn and grow with each time you listen to them, and worlds to just enjoy. I had a second thought that I've completely forgotten.
It's a long 2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
You can come back to it.
Yeah. You go first, Roshan. I think I got about 50% there, and I need to come up with the final 50% of that.
I can give you a little break, and we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
But to answer your question, in terms of did we do what we set out to do?
Mm-hmm.
And with this project, absolutely, right? Like, and that's part of the reason it took 4 years to do, is we were so meticulous. We were so careful. And you know, we had the luxury of doing that. And I every time I listen to this, all I can think is, yes, this is exactly the thing that I imagined in my head 4 years ago. In absolutely the state that I want. If we could do like a Snyder Cut release of Temujin, nothing would change. Nothing would change. Now, if you mean broadly in terms of like what we intend to do, like as professionals, that's a very different question, right? And that's something that we've been thinking and talking about a lot right now, which is like, you know, like what comes next has been a really interesting question, because that sophomore effort is what determines what this show was about in a way. So for instance, if the very first thing we do is Temujin 2, then we kind of solidify that we are people who care about this story, and that's like our thing. Whereas if the next thing that we do is like an audio fiction adaptation of a comic, right? Let's say like if we do an adaptation of a local comic, and that's the next thing we do, then we're like, okay, we're interested in like Singapore, Asian stories. So, you know, like in a way, like we have to think very carefully about why Temujin worked. Because when we do our second and our third thing, that's gonna sort of, even against our will, kind of give people an impression that like, oh, that's what those guys are about. So I would say we will really know if we pulled off what Temujin was meant to do in a professional sense, as sort of us as young people trying to like make it in our industry, when people look back into Temujin like 10 years from now and they're like, does that make sense? Or was it like a one-hit wonder? Or was it like their Mongolian stuff was good, but their Filipino stuff was kind of weird? You know, like what will people say about it then? We'll kind of retroactively color. So we're conscious about that. Like what is the longer narrative? And one thing that we've decided is that, actually, here's an interesting reveal we could make, which is that we have an idea for Temujin 2, right? I know what I want to do. I have the story down. And we made a commitment to ourselves that we must be well known for one other thing before we get back to Temujin, just to make sure that we're not like really just doing one thing over and over again. Like we have to keep challenging ourselves. Yeah, Isabel, did you remember what you wanted to say?
I did, and I also wanted to say that question is good to ask in 5 years as well. Like, did we achieve what we want? You know, we have some answers to that now, but I think some of the answers to that will come in the 5 years. And I think one of the things that we were talking about with this, I mean, with the show, absolutely, it's kind of everything we wanted and opened doors to more. I think as part of this campaign, one of the things was like, you know, it's sort of like a just being there is such a blessing, but you know, to kind of as part of campaigning, like there's the campaign and then there's like meeting people along the way, like you guys, and so much, and touching more audiences. You know, it's I can't end this on saying that it's not about the winning, because we all want to like win. We all like rewards, right?
Remember to vote. It's below.
Yeah, don't forget to vote. That being said, there's been so much that there's been, even the process has added so much to our journey as creatives, and our journey, and growing this community, this creators community, and being a part of it at large. So I think in that way as well, I think we've just encountered more than we could ask for at some points. So we've just been very fortunate.
Yeah. You know, to hop on that, and like for the people who are listening who are part of like the podcast collective Asia, earlier we were talking about how rare it is to encounter sort of like goodwill in reporting or goodwill in community stuff. I think this has really been a reminder how rare it is for people to spontaneously offer support. 99% of everything that, you know, we're lucky to have had, it's because we asked for it. But in that 1% is like Daniel and Raven, who did spontaneously offer their support. And I do want to say that like what we have in this community and what like you guys have created is something that I think we can objectively say now, Isabel and I, it's quite rare, and it's definitely a very special thing. And it's one of the things that we'll remember. And I think like as a end to the campaign, this is really nice, because I think it's very positive, you know, like positive in a way that isn't about winning. It's positive in a way where it's like a bunch of people like a story, sit down and talk about it, is kind of like almost like the childish part of ourselves, kind of like that's what we imagine this thing will be. And on nights like tonight, that's what it feels like this is. And it's not about like journalists, or it's not about like press releases, it's not about all the stuff that can leave you feeling a bit dirty, you know, like this is very special. So to Daniel and Raven, like you guys are a part of this journey, and we're so grateful for the community that you've created and for doing this with us.
Thanks for sharing this with us. Actually, really appreciate it. And Raven, if you have any other thoughts, I just got one more question. Who drew that? Who drew that giant Doge versus that cat thing?
Okay, good. We must cite our sources, right? That is something I found on a meme group, and someone posted that as a template. They're like, add your own caption here. And I was really stressed working on the campaign. So I took the picture. I'm like, you know what? Just do that. And I stuck it on there. And my conscience was clear. I couldn't find the original artist, but there's a label. There's an artist signature on the top left-hand corner. I thought it said like FTV is what I thought it said. Like I googled FTV dog, and I couldn't find anything. So if anybody does actually find out who drew that, please send that to me, though, because I would love to just like go to find that guy's Patreon and like or that person's Patreon. We don't know.
I know the meme, but I do not recognize that art. But it was the feel was very similar to the artwork that you guys used. So I was like wondering, like,
it's weird, right? Like it's kind of like looking at that had me thinking like next time maybe we should pay like people to do really high quality versions of memes, because we couldn't have asked for better art. But like if anybody, I couldn't find it on Google. I was like swole dog versus Cheems meme, and I scrolled through like 10 pages. Like, whoever this person is deserves more popularity, more than us.
So Raven, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, I just want to say thank you for your guys' kind words. So, I mean, we really appreciate it, and we love, like, you know, I mean, as content creators ourselves, like, you know, I think sometimes really hard, like, especially when you're independent, trying to market yourself, that, you know, you don't have the resource of a big corporation, or, you know, then you need to figure out how to market yourself, how you distribute, how do you reach out to the audience and stuff like that. And it's really amazing talking to you guys, and you all being really open and candid about sharing your process. Because sometimes a lot of times, especially when independent, it's like, how do people get to A to B, right? Then it's like, it's almost a mystery, like, you know, how do you do it? Like, where is the gaps and stuff? Like, you know, and I really appreciate you guys sharing. I think it's really very useful information for everyone who's watching the stream today. You know, be the ASEAN creators, be the podcasters, be the Malaysian entrepreneurs. I don't know I think it's really a very interesting, like what you guys have said, I think could apply to other aspects of, you know, content creation, not just podcasts, but other aspects, and maybe for businesses, you know, and other projects as well. So I think
Did we lose Raven?
hanging out
I think we lost Raven for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, hello, welcome back.
Okay, sorry about that. I think it was my connection getting a bit dodgy. Okay, so I just want to say a really big thank you for, you know, letting us, you know, into your journey, like the little part of your journey, because I really appreciate what you guys do. I think it's really very amazing kind of work. I think, like, you know, there's a lot of great stories to be told about Asia, but sometimes it's really hard to get it out there, right? And especially if you're from Asia itself, and even as we are like English speaking, but there's still obstacles in a sense, because there's a cultural difference and stuff. But to see you guys like transcend, I guess, the borders, you know, and making a product that is like international, it's like Asian story, but the audience is international, is quite, I think, very impressive and also very inspiring. So keep up the good work. And for all those people who are still tuning in after, like, I don't know, 3-4 hours, I lost track of time. Please remember to, you know, go to the URL and vote for these guys. Yeah, help them close the gap between with Trevor Noah. Yeah.
And I do want to say as well that, like, anybody again still watching, still listening, like, first off, like, Stamina, thank you for spending your Friday night with us. The second thing is, like, Isabel and I know how ridiculously hard it can be to do all this stuff. in many ways we've been very lucky. In many ways we were lucky that we failed at the right time and learned the right lessons at the right. The point is, I think we both feel like there's a lot that we can do to help. Part of that is like nights like tonight, but part of that is like if you ever have anything on your mind, or any questions, or you just need someone to talk to about this stuff. I think like our emails are sort of floating around. The Temujin group is also like hosting this. Always feel free to reach out. We want to do what we can to like continue like giving back, and part of that is like we want to be open to continue like this. We even if we're the first people to reach this stage, we don't want to be the last people to, you know, like so. Yeah, please make use of us.
Thank you very much. Con's mama said amazing listening party, so she just texted me. So thank you everyone. Remember to vote. The URL is right below, and if anything, just follow the Facebook page for Temujin and follow their Spotify and wherever you can listen to them. Like even if you don't vote, if past the voting time, when you get a chance to listen to this, listen to it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Honestly, like after voting, just listen, have a good time. You know what? One thing that really helps, leave a review, share it on Facebook, just tell people, hey, I enjoyed this thing. And that's already like meaning that goes such a long way.
Tell
So,
us
like,
what you liked on Twitter too. Like we're pretty
we're very
active on
active on
Twitter.
Twitter.
If you comment, we love each comment. We really do. So those things.
Thank you very much. I'll go
Yeah.
and end the stream. So see you guys. Like, have a good rest and all the best for tomorrow.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Good
Thank you.
night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Mainstream.
Do I just leave?